And we are live. Hey, everybody, this is Roberto Blake. Help you create something awesome today. Welcome back to the channel. Today is another Workshop Wednesday, so you know what it is. We have another workshop here, and this week is week 3 out of 12. We are doing packaging, titles, and thumbnails for this workshop. So we have a lot to cover with you, so hope you'll stay tuned for that. We're going to be doing a full presentation, and we are also going to demo some of the thumbnail stuff here in Photoshop. So we have that open so we can go over some rules for you. And these will apply to most thumbnails for most of you in terms of things you need to improve. So we will be doing a hands-on portion of this, including overall thumbnails. And I will talk a little bit about some of the things I do for my thumbnail designs that are a little bit different, but we will actually show you an example of something you can apply to other channels. This one is obviously for a faceless channel on personal development and stoicism, so you get the idea here, but this actually will help you with regard to the correct fonts to use and some layout techniques that are pretty basic that anyone can benefit from when it comes to doing your thumbnails. We will, of course, also be covering titles. In this workshop, we're going to be teaching you something that we tend to do over in Awesome Creator Academy. We have the Vibes framework for thumbnail design, which will help you with more clicks, more views. And we also have the clicks method, which is a framework that is designed to help you with structuring titles properly and making sure that they appeal to your audience. This is not for SEO, this is for human behavior. And that's kind of really the goal here. So this will work for both entertainment and education-based channels because we're dealing with the first principles human psychology element of why people click on videos in the first place. Focus here is going to be value for the viewer. So we're going to be going over all those things. As usual, we have a link for you to download the slides from this PDF presentation. So you can do that with the link here, and it will be linked in the description on YouTube if you go to the YouTube description so that you can get the slides and follow along. If you use the previous week's number, you can also go back to those videos here on my main YouTube channel. You can go to the live tab. You can watch our previous 2-hour workshops. We have one on topics and topic research that should come before this, and then one on planning, brainstorming, and also preparing to do this while you have a full-time job and setting the right expectations if you're a working class content creator. So we did that for week 1, topics for week 2, titles and thumbnails here are week 3, and we will go ahead and get right into the presentation here. And we will be doing somewhat of a little bit of a recap because some of you are new to the content and you're watching this potentially on multiple platforms here. So we want you to make sure that at some point you check out awesomecreatoracademy.com and you can get the slides. That should say week 3 there instead of week 2. So just overlook that. It'll be week 3 for this presentation. And you'll be able to get the slides for that. But we also want you to check out the Awesome Creator Academy Pro group. This is a group coaching program for serious content creators who want to be full-time. If this is just a hobby or personal expression for you, don't worry about it. You don't need to join the Academy Pro group if all you're doing is trying to express yourself or do a hobby. You probably really don't need to pay too much attention to YouTube advice if that's all you want out of it. But if you're someone who wants to be a full-time content creator, or you want this to be a side hustle that earns $500 to $1,000 a month of extra money, then the Academy Pro Group can help you. We meet twice a week on Tuesdays and Thursdays for private group coaching calls where we are live and we give feedback and the group goes around and we comment on that. We also talk about our brand deal negotiations and try to help out there. So if you're interested, that's available over at awesomecreatoracademy.com/join. We hope to see you over in the pro group. For those of you not familiar with me, I'm Roberto Blake. I've been doing content creation since the beginning of YouTube. I've been taking it seriously for over 12 years now, since the summer of 2013. I became a full-time content creator very rapidly because I was a full-time freelancer. So I already understood how to make money online. I came from a marketing and design and advertising background. So I had some advantages like knowing Photoshop already, having done marketing and ads, had a background in video editing since before YouTube ever existed, and also had a photography background that started with volunteering in my local church in a small town. So I had the creative skills and technical skills to be a content creator before YouTube existed. I was able, and before I built my coaching program to scale YouTube to six figures through the usual methods, AdSense, affiliate links, largely the Amazon affiliate influencer program, and my content all the way from 0 to 100,000 subscribers was not YouTube help content. It was to help freelancers learn skills that could make them money through photography, videography, video editing, and learning how to find freelance clients and charge them for those skills, plus graphic design and print work. Since that was my previous corporate background, I just taught the skills that I knew from corporate America when I left my 9 to 5 job, and I taught those same skills on YouTube. For those of you who are content creators here over 30, over 40, this is really what most of you are going to do versus entertainment content. There are some of you under 30, under 35, you're still going to want to do entertainment content, but most of you are going to do education style content or lifestyle content. It's going to be based on your lived experience as a person in their 30s, 40s, or 50s and beyond. That's how I do it. Entertainment content is fine. Most of what we talk about here will apply to entertainment content. So if that's what you're into, don't worry about it too much. But this just gives you a background. I've been doing this successfully. I figured out multiple streams of income on YouTube that work for different types of creators. I've coached over 600 channels. About maybe half of them or more were entertainment channels instead of education channels. And even in the last 2 or 3 years, I've coached about 100 gaming channels. So I do know what I'm talking about here. There are reasons to listen to me. So, being upfront with all of you, how long does it take to succeed on YouTube? For working class content creators who do this part-time, you work a 9 to 5 job. You work 40 hours a week like I did in corporate America, more like 50 hours a week if we're being honest. You throw in a commute, you throw in some of the time you're not paid for on the clock. Yeah, about 50 hours a week. You come home, you're going to make content with the scraps of energy you have left over. You still have to cook, clean, do chores. Maybe you have kids running around. Figuring out how you're going to do content is overwhelming. Doing it effectively and doing it well is even harder. And then you're still trying to educate yourself. You still got to learn video editing, learn Photoshop, learn Canva, learn titles, learn all these new AI things with ChatGPT to help you with your titles, your scripts. It's a lot to take in. It gets overwhelming. And that's why for the people who actually make it, who still have to work a 9 to 5 job, I'm going to be honest with you. It takes most creators 5 to 7 years. They don't make content consistently enough. They are having competing priorities. A lot of times they have to take a 2 or 3 month break or a month-long break from their content. Their kid gets sick. They have too many things going on at work. Some people are students and they have to buckle down to not end up on academic probation. There are all kinds of reasons why people stagnate on YouTube, but it's mostly their real life obligations. It's mostly the problem that they're a working class content creator and they're doing this with leftover scraps of time, leftover scraps of energy, and it gets to be overwhelming and progress is slow. So that's why it takes most people 5 to 7 years. If people have something happen where they hit an inflection point in life, where they get a big old break and they get to go all in for a couple of weeks, that usually is a turning point for their channel. This happened to creators during the pandemic. It's happened to creators who decided to go all in after leaving a job or getting laid off. And there are creators who start with being able to go all in from the very beginning. Usually these are younger creators, not married, no kids. You may notice a trend. The top successful YouTubers and the YouTubers who go viral, what do they all have in common? With the exception of Casey Neistat, who did it for 5 years before he made it big, with the exception of Mark Rober, the truth is that the big YouTubers that are massive and that everyone watches and that went viral, almost none of them are over 30 and have children and are married. they are almost exclusively under 25, not married, no kids. And I only bring that up to make a point that you should not be judging the growth of other channels or other people you're competing with if you don't know what their lifestyle is like, and if your lifestyle, circumstances, and obligations are very, very different. Every creator's journey is different. Everyone has different time, freedom, resources, investment capital to put into this, manpower. Some people have mentors, some people have help, some people have prior corporate experiences that help them navigate this faster. Some people work for other content creators. They get mentorship, they get analytics, they get insight, they get tools that help them scale faster and grow faster. So don't judge your growth off of other people in your niche. You do not know their circumstances, and most creators who grow big or grow fast will not disclose to you their unfair advantages. They won't tell you they had a mentor. They won't tell you that maybe their husband or wife retired them and let them go full time. I know a creator personally. I won't talk too much about their situation, but his wife was a successful six-figure real estate agent. She was killing it. She saw that he was miserable at his 9 to 5 corporate job. She was making more than enough money. She said, "Honey, I want you to try this thing that you're really passionate about." And she financed him chasing his passion and doing his YouTube channel, subsidized his camera gear. I believe she said it was like 30,000 that she gave him and 2 years to try his heart out. And she launched him. She put startup capital into her husband. That's a fantastic relationship. Not everyone's that fortunate. And so he was able to grow very, very quickly because his wife made a bet on him like that. That's not going to be the situation for most of you watching this. This is not going to be the situation for us. It certainly wasn't my situation. I'm not talking about me. So when you look at things like that, you have no idea what's going on behind the scenes. So it could take you a different amount of time and different length based on circumstances. Me, I was a full-time freelancer. I had some camera gear from freelancing and doing wedding photography on the weekends. I had experience with this. I learned it early in life in my church before YouTube ever existed. I had access to photography and video. And I was, in that regard, I was taught and I was mentored around basic things around that. And I had a formal background in advertising graphic design. These are not typical skills that most people would have. So coming to the platform, I had an advantage that let me in year 2 of my channel being at 20,000 subscribers. And this is important because these workshops are really meant for most of you who are under 20,000 and struggling in terms of your subscribers. I was at 20,000 subscribers. I was a full-time freelancer controlling my schedule, making at least decent money that I could live off of in the middle of nowhere, North Carolina, out there by Fort Bragg. And so what happened for me was I was able to go hard, go daily, and I was able to grow my channel instead of doing 2 videos a week, 3 videos a week like I was doing. I went daily and I went hard. And I did that for a year. And between 2015 and 2016, I grew to 100,000 subscribers in a year. And I stayed daily and I grew by another 100,000 subscribers in a year. So it took me about 14 months to go from 20,000 to over 100,000 I did in 14 months between February of 2015 and April of 2016. And I got my silver play button. And then every year after that, I grew by 100,000 subscribers as long as I was able to keep up momentum. At a certain point, I was able to do 150 videos in a year and still grow by that much. And then we had the pandemic. I uploaded 75% less videos during the pandemic, and my growth reflected that. So I want to tell you guys straight up, consistency is the most important thing. Once you figure out how to make content that people want to watch, want to subscribe to, once you figure that out, if you can be consistent, I am not telling you to go daily, but if you can be consistent, it will be the most important thing. If you stop being consistent, you will lose momentum, you will lose energy. It is no different than closing up your store and then wondering why your sales are down. So consistency is key. If you want to grow on YouTube, we'll try to accelerate that so it doesn't take you 5 to 7 years. We will try to figure out how to get you as quickly as possible to 20,000 subscribers, and then you can make a choice about how hard you want to go. If you can get to 3,000 subscribers a month on average of growth, I got to 10,000 at one point, monthly growth. If you can get to 3,000 monthly growth, then it's a 3-year countdown from that to being a 100K channel. It's a 3-year or less countdown. So that is what we're really optimizing for. If you want to get to 100,000 subscribers, that's what it looks like. If you just want to do this as a side hustle, we'll just figure out how to get you to 500 or 1,000 a month with it. So here are some stats before we go super heavy. I want to just like let you glance a little at the presentation. We got a lot here that we're going to cover. It's going to be really great for you, but we do want to cover some stats you need to know. And I updated these stats today with new information based on the current totals. Mario Juice, former content strategy for Mr. Beast himself, helped put together these numbers based on Social Blade data. Social Blade only tracks 63 million YouTube channels. We have a report out. I forget the name of the website. There's a report out that there are over 115 million YouTube channels worldwide. Social Blade does not track all international YouTube channels, and it does not track some channels that are smaller that might be under 500 subscribers sometimes unless they manually submit to it. So Social Blade tracking 63 million channels doesn't mean that there are only 63 million YouTube channels. This data reflects that, so take it with a grain of salt. There's actually over 100 million YouTube channels worldwide. There are over 50 million plus active channels that upload monthly. They're not always the same channels. So if you're wondering about, well, how many are active? Well, it's still quite a bit. It's still a lot of them in the higher range because we know from YouTube that over 50 million unique active channels upload at least once a month. And not all channels are monthly upload style channels. People take breaks, etc., etc. So it's not all the same people. So we know it's got to be over 60, 70 million active YouTube channels. So just understand that these numbers can be taken seriously. So the number of people on YouTube out of everybody that have 10,000 subscribers, which most of you may not, is 3 million channels in the entire world. Much less than that in North America, by the way. So that's worldwide for the most part. That's 2.74%. By the way, there are also only 3 million channels in the YouTube Partner Program. So less than 3% of all YouTube creators are partnered. So you can take that for what it is. If you wanted to only go off of Social Blade numbers, if you want to be more conservative, if that's all you want to believe in, then that still would mean, in terms of all the channels that exist within YouTube, that in terms of 3 million channels being monetized, still a very low overall percentage. Now, the number of creators who have 50,000 subscribers, that's still less than a million channels. It's 960K. Channels who are at 100,000 subscribers like me, less than 0.5% of channels, 0.49%, 550,000 channels. In terms of channels in the United States of America, it's less than 90,000 channels, I believe, in the United States of America, less than 100,000 channels with 100,000 subscribers. So YouTube's not as saturated as you think it is. Number of channels with a million subscribers, 59,000 in the entire world. I believe in North America, it's under 13,000. A lot of that is due to recent YouTube Shorts creators. Number of creators with 10 million subscribers, 2,200 worldwide. That's less people than have climbed Mount Everest. That is less people than have climbed Mount Everest. Number of channels with 50 million subscribers, 78. 78. Not even enough people to fill a high school auditorium or cafeteria. Number of channels with 100 million subscribers, just 13. Just 13. Not enough of them to even remotely fill up a school bus. You could basically fill up a passenger van, and that's about it. So there you go. YouTube is not nearly as saturated as you think, but it might be more competitive than you ever imagined. And that would be the difference. So Just so you understand. Just so you understand. Now, what we're going to focus on is how we create value for viewers. Now, in our previous workshop for week 2, we talked about topics, we talked about topic research. And what I would say is that topic, title, thumbnail, and timing are what decide the fate of your videos. This is what decides your views. If you're wondering what decides how many views you are going to get on YouTube, I would say that this is what you need to focus on. I would also make an argument for the total addressable market of the topic and of the niche itself. And I would also then say that your vibe attracts your tribe. And so I would say when you kind of start to put all of those things together, you start to get an understanding of what the limitations or expectations of your content could look like. So I think that that's kind of just important to acknowledge here. And when you put it into perspective, if you look at everything we're talking about here in this slide and you put it into perspective, if you add all this up, this is really what you have to focus on initially when it comes to the packaging of your videos. There are a few other subtle things, but the reason we bring this up is that the interplay between choosing a topic and then getting that topic out on time, good timing. This is the part that a lot of you think is luck, but it's not really luck, it's preparation, right? The biggest YouTubers a lot of you know are big YouTubers, and you say that they were lucky that they started YouTube early. They were lucky that they were first in their niche. They were lucky that they were first in that game. They were lucky that they covered that show from day one, so on and so forth. What you're describing as luck is timing. And while they're not in control of timing, while they're not all powerful and all knowing, it is possible to rig good timing in your favor. And even if you had good timing, if you were unprepared or if you were a coward, it doesn't matter. And what do I mean by that? What I mean by that is I want you to imagine a scenario where you had an inside track that there's going to be a new TV show or a new series or a new game or a new product, a new camera, and you were granted early access to it. But you didn't prepare and you missed the timing because you were not prepared, even though you were invited, you didn't check your email, or you didn't check your spam filter for that opportunity, or you overslept. That's on you. That's preparedness, right? So if you're not prepared, but you're offered an opportunity, that good luck and good fortune was wasted on you. And all that was required was for you to be prepared. And there are opportunities that crossed your path several times a year, but you're not prepared to take advantage of them. You haven't done the prep work. So the thing is, preparedness would be the factor for timing here if you were given that opportunity. The other thing is confidence and courage, because you could be early if you would only shoot your shot. If you would shoot your shot, if you would take a shot, you could have been the one who was early. You could have been the one to do it and been first and early to market, but you would have had been prepared to deliver and you would have had the courage to try. And so that's why timing is not a matter of luck. It is a matter of courage and it's a matter of preparation. Without those, good timing will not save you, will not bless you. So that's very important. Now, topic is also important because topic decides so much the fate of your content. If the topic is broad and you have the skill to deliver on it, then good. If the topic is broad but you bring nothing to the table, just doing something that's popular won't save you if your execution is bad. I'll give you an example in real life. In real life, if you were to cover a popular song or popular band and you did a great job, You will get applause. You'll have people cheering for you. You'll have people supporting you. If you go up there and you do either Michael Jackson's rendition or Alien Ant Farm's rendition of Smooth Criminal, a beloved and popular song, and you kill it and you leave your heart on the floor in the performance in that talent show, the world's your oyster. People will clap it up for you. You will get all kinds of praise. People will give you your flowers. But if you do that very popular thing and you don't do it justice, you do that popular thing and you suck, you do that song wrong, you are going to be roasted. You are going to be dragged. You are going to suffer. So the thing is, picking something popular only matters if you're good at it. We'll get to that and the concept of ikigai a little bit later. We've covered that before here on the workshops and here on the channel. So if you're going to cover a topic, you should know that topic well and bring something really great and valuable for the viewers to the table and be able to deliver on it. So topic matters, but also it matters in terms of your limitations. There are more people who care about Star Wars than care about growing a YouTube channel. So I cannot get the views that someone like Star Wars Theory does because there are more Star Wars fans than there are aspiring YouTube content creators who will take it seriously and speak English. So the topic matters. The title conveys the topic and tells people how to feel about it. So we could have a topic with a huge total addressable market, but our title decides how people feel and what camp they're in. Vibe attracts tribe, right? So our title and thumbnail can attract people or it can alienate people. And the thing is, it might be designed to do that. It might be to attract certain people and alienate other people because we might want a specific audience. We might want a certain tribe. We may not want attention from everyone. Not all attention is good attention, and not all good attention is the right attention for you. So it is important to decide through your title and thumbnail what vibe and tone you want to create because the vibe will attract the tribe. So you should be intentional about that tribe. We're going to get into that later and remind you, like we did in our topic research phase, about the audience avatar and about viewer psychology. And then thumbnail. Thumbnail visually sets the tone that we talked about, and it can communicate those things. So in one of our examples on stage, when it comes to our channel on Stoicism, for example, this is geared toward a male audience. So we're using strong masculine figures. We're using unapologetically aggressive and straightforward language. And we're using active voice for the most part, like this title. This thumbnail is communicating something. It says men must embrace hardship. That is very declarative about what the identity of the viewer is, who the viewer avatar is, and it sets the tone for what is going to be communicated in the video. Hardest lessons of the Stoics. Embrace burdens as a man in silence. These are things that communicate specific information to a very specific audience identity, and they are self-contained. And in here, the thumbnails would be complementary to titles that would be very similar to this. And so this is designed with a very specific vibe to attract a very specific tribe. So that's how we're going to discuss the combination of titles and thumbnails and how to make them effective. And so regardless of what your audience is, you will want to, understand how you display and communicate value to your specific viewers. And so this is extremely important. And value has to be on the viewer's terms, by the way. So earlier, we showed you some stats around YouTube, and our goal here and in this workshop and the other workshops is to help you understand how to really embrace the idea that YouTube's not saturated. If it's saturated with anything, it's the mediocre majority. It's content that people do not care to support. And that's why I showed you those numbers and stats around subscribers so that you understand that there is not a lot of competition really when it comes down to it because of the sheer number of channels across all niches in YouTube in all languages that currently exist. Look at how few people actually have an audience that publicly vouches for them by hitting the subscribe button. So that tells you YouTube is not as saturated as you think, but it is competitive. The thing YouTube is saturated with is a mediocre majority. So when it comes to that, what you want to do is you want to make sure your channel's value for the viewers is absolutely clear. You want channel clarity. You want to eliminate confusion as to why someone is here and why they should watch. You want content pillars. You want to have topics and themes that matter to the tribe you want to attract. For your video ideals, you want titles that are too good, too interesting, too weird to ignore. And you want thumbnails that stop the scroll in their feed and make them pay attention to the title. That 1-2 punch. And then you want to throw a hook. Once they click on that video, you need to give them a reason to be invested within 8 seconds of clicking on that video, or they are out and they're back into the loop of making a decision and choosing a priority. So again, YouTube is not saturated. If it is saturated, it's saturated with the mediocre majority. It's not saturated with an abundance of high value, high quality content with high effort and high consistency. And in any niche that you're in, most of the people posting content are mediocre. So all you have to do is, with the help, hopefully, of our workshops, is develop the skills to improve beyond the mediocre majority. So, we talked about clarity for your channel. To help you figure out the clarity and purpose of your channel, we need to address Ikigai. We will probably end up addressing this slide in almost every presentation because it's that important. So we'll probably talk about this every week for the next 12 weeks because it's really important for you to not chase your passion over a cliff. We need to find our purpose. Ikigai is a Japanese philosophy from Okinawa that roughly translates to reason for being. So what's your purpose? Why are you here? What are you doing with yourself? What is your purpose? So the thing is, we want to align passion in such a way that it's not passion for passion's sake, but it's purposeful. So I've come up with the creator's version of Ikigai. You want to be passionate about something that you're actually good at because you want to create value for the audience, your viewers in the target market. And you want your value to be respected. So you want people to compensate you. You want to be monetized so that you're rewarded for the value that you create, the skills that you have, so that your passion is not in vain. If you're passionate about something and you're good at something, but there's no market, no group of people to support it, then ultimately you're casting everything into the void. And then it's also probably impossible for you to make money and be paid and rewarded. So you'll burn out and you'll quit because you can't indefinitely work hard and not be rewarded and not be acknowledged and still be in love with what you're doing. That's not how it's going to work for most people. You will burn out if that happens. If you do something that you're good at and it pays really well and people support it, but you come to hate, resent it, or you have no interest in it, eventually your effort and skill will diminish or not keep up. You won't keep creating value for people you resent, and the money will not be enough to keep you invested. So ultimately, you will fail. You'll burn out or you will fail. If you somehow, some way, don't have any skills and are not passionate about something, but you do it anyway, and there's a market for it, so you do that, and there's money in it, the odds are you will have to have a thick skin because most people will consider you a fraud. So the best thing that you could possibly do is avoid all of this by living in balance creating imbalance, and figuring out what is it that you really like, but that you're good at. The thing that you're most passionate in the world, if you're not good at it, then and you don't have the capacity to get good at it in a reasonable time, maybe you don't pursue that for your content or your business. Maybe you just enjoy that as a passion that's a hobby. If you have a passion that you're good at, but there aren't enough people to support it, to satisfy your ego and your desire to be validated and acknowledged, then again, it's probably something that's best left as a hobby unless you can make money at it, which means you might need to just get to a place where it's a specialized business so that you can make more money. Because if it's a small market, maybe it's a side hustle then. So then maybe that's a side hustle. What you really want, what you really, really want is you want to know that you're passionate about something and there's a market, a group of people that are passionate about it in the same way as you are. If you don't understand this, just remember, not all Star Wars fans are created equal. Are you a Star Wars fan? Are you original trilogy fan? Are you a sequel fan? Are you a prequel fan? Are you a fan of the Old Republic? Are you a fan of the movies, the video games, or the expanded universe now called Legends? There's a difference. Are you a fan of Lucas Star Wars? Disney Star Wars? Are you a fan of all things Star Wars? It matters because vibe attracts tribe. People can be interested in the same thing as you, but they may not be like-hearted people. They can be like-minded. They may not be like-hearted people. They may not like it the same way you like it, care about the same details about it that you do. Y'all may be passionate about it, but not in the same way. And that makes a difference. So, you want to be in alignment with your audience. So that's where you need your market fit. You need your market fit where you're passionate about it in the same way, attracting the same people, like-minded interest, like-hearted values. You care about the same things in the same way. You need skills, and the skill gap should be significant enough to where you can create value for the people in your community, in your niche, in your audience that feel that way to where they feel served. And then you need to understand how to make money, how this is going to satisfy you in a way where you feel rewarded and where you can sustain this and where you are investing back into yourself and where you're living a good life so that you can feel satisfied. And this, my friends, is how we actually avoid burnout. This is how we actually avoid burnout right here. We live in balance. We live in harmony with ourselves. So let's move on to something practical when it comes to the thumbnails. This is the vibes framework. We teach this in Awesome Creator Academy in the pro group, and I help my one-on-one clients in coaching with this and on top of our group coaching. So the vibes framework stands for visually attractive at a glance, interesting idea or story at a glance, bold text and color and contrast, eye-catching elements, social proof, or status. These things help us in order to make better thumbnails, and it's wildly practical. You've seen examples of this constantly when it comes to top creators. So ultimately, you want to have something that at a glance, someone can stop scrolling in their phone and at a glance, pay attention to your thumbnail, stop scrolling in YouTube and go, oh, that's the one. That's interesting. Well, what's the title about? Oh, I relate to that. Let me click on this. Let me give this a shot. And you got to win them over in 5 to 8 seconds. And you got to really double down on their attention within 2 seconds. So you can't waste their time. You cannot. So the vibes framework, again, has to be visually attractive at a glance, has to have an interesting story at a glance, be interesting at a glance, bold text, colors and contrast, some eye-catching elements in there, and then it also has to convey status and social proof. We'll get to titles here in a minute, but like I said, this is one of the most important and one of the most overlooked aspects of YouTube, and we managed to put it into simple terms for you so that you can really wrap your head around this and that it's a repeatable framework. This is a repeatable framework that will allow you to continue to develop strong thumbnails. We're going to use a different example here in Photoshop for you that will help you grasp this a little bit more and take advantage of it. And I'm going to use two thumbnails for a completely different channel here in a second that could be utilized more or less in an A/B test type situation. So this, and we'll do multiple examples of thumbnails here, but here you go. So this would be for a channel that is focused on mythology in and of itself. And so this is based on Anubis, the Egyptian god of death. So, first of all, these are visually striking images just at a glance. It's like, well, that's interesting. Anubis has status and social proof. He's literally the freaking god of death here. That's the status and social proof. We have um, visually attractive, it's interesting at a glance, bold, eye-catching elements, and text here, easy to read, easy to scan. And again, the man Anubis is his own status and social proof, god of death. So this is a primary example right here of what we're talking about with the vibes framework. I would imagine that if you wanted to watch a history channel around the lore of myths, legends, monsters, and gods, that this would be something you'd probably want to click on. So this passes the vibes check very quickly. So that's something that makes sense. Now I'm going to pull up another example here. We might have a few more examples. There are some things I'm looking through my files here to see what we have so that we can make this even more relatable, because I don't think just looking at my thumbnails for my YouTube channel is relatable enough, even though it certainly takes advantage of all of this psychology. But if I look here real quick, we have a basic thumbnail system that illustrates many of the key dynamics of thumbnails, but also gives you context on layouts as well in general. So we have some basic ones here. We have things like this in the YouTube starter kit. So if you're bad at thumbnails, we actually have a offer for you with the YouTube starter kit that you can buy. And then actually mods, the discount on the starter kit is actually going to be linked in the chat here. And the code for that is 20 off, and they get 20% off. And I'm going to just type that out here for you in the chat. So if they use this, they get 20 off at checkout on the YouTube starter kit. But one of the things that I will say here is that I wanted to make this as simple as possible for you guys. Use only 2 words and 3 lines, and I literally use only 2 words and 3 lines in this thumbnail. There are exceptions to that rule, and if you use very, very short words, you can do that. But this can definitely help you with, how much text is too much text. This is readable and scannable. The reason that I use this rule is this is a rule we tried to use when I did billboard design. When I did billboards in cable broadcast, I did stuff with HBO boxing. I did stuff with HBO sports. It was the main client we had as a vendor when I worked at an ad agency on 34th Street The president of HBO, Eric Kessler, was friends with my boss at the time. They were golfing buddies, I believe. And so we had that account. We had Big Ten Network, and I did stuff with Big Ten Icons. We had Rainbow Media and Madison Square Garden we would do stuff for. So I did stuff like the poster design and billboard for the Lombardi documentary. We did some non-sport stuff. I did one for the Bruce Springsteen documentary. This is over 15 years ago. I'm using this not as a humble brag, but to make a point about the lessons that we learned in billboard design. In billboard design, it's scannable text. Scannable text matters, and we have hierarchy of visuals, top to bottom, left to right. We also want to use things like color blocking for emphasis. These are all principles that you learn if you're a graphic designer or you ever have to do print campaigns and you have to do banner campaigns. So, some of the simple rules that we're usually taught is scannable text, and usually that's why we use only 2 words, only 3 lines. That's how we do it with billboards. Thumbnails are basically equivalent to billboards. So that's how we do it. There are exceptions to that where if you're using stop words or additional words and to the stuff like that, you can go a little further. Or if the words are very short and you don't have to stick to this rule like it's religion. You can break this rule a little bit, but this rule is a guideline that is meant to help you not have bad looking stuff. And then we also have several fonts and mods. If you could post the fonts for me, we have 5 fonts that we recommend you use that make your text look good when it comes to your thumbnails. And so I also did some different layouts here, like a top layout where we're using up to 4 words on a single line, and where we're using some other elements here. And we have a comparison style video here. And then we have one where the text is on the bottom and to the left to show you that there are ways for that to work as well. And these are very simple style thumbnails in Photoshop that focus on text, a background, and a model. And for most of you, that is enough. You can add other elements like we talked about, but for most of you, this is enough to convey an idea that you might have. You can add other eye-catching elements to this, but a lot of you are not good at it, so keeping it simple matters. As for the fonts, we use the bold versions of these very simple fonts. Bold versions of Babus New, Poppins, Oswald, Compacta, Open Sans, and Futura. We use Compacta instead of Impact because it's a much cleaner font. It's a little bit more compressed. It has variations as well, and it works for a larger variety of overall words. So this is what helps us to make clean overall thumbnails. And these are examples of simple, elegant, clean thumbnail design. Are these the bestest Mr. Beast style thumbnails in the world? No. Most of those are based in photography anyway, and custom photography, and a little bit of AI wizardry. So in terms of the modern YouTube meta where that's concerned, that's a lot of things that might be out of your depth if you're a creator that's under 20,000 subscribers, which is what this workshop is about. We have done a previous workshop, however, that is on the live tab of the YouTube channel that you can watch for more advanced thumbnail design, where we talk about custom photography. I show you not only how I make my advanced thumbnails, but also I replicated a thumbnail in that workshop from HopeScope, where I replicated one of her 8 million view thumbnails and showed you how we did that using all of those techniques and exposing those techniques. And we showed you a lot of the other tools in Photoshop and how to use those properly. So we do have that workshop still live here on the channel. We have other thumbnail workshops as well that give you a lot of the tools and how to exactly use individual unique tools step by step. This workshop is a little bit more about teaching you a lot of the principles behind these things and how to do them properly. So there is another example here of the vibes framework for thumbnails that we can do. And this one did have some of the elements created by AI, but the rest of the layout is done by me, especially the text. And here we're using two fonts in combination. We're using pop-in semi-bold. And what I want to do here is actually, I want to shrink up that text and then just open up the space in between words a little bit to make that a little cleaner. And then we will elegantly do that. And then that's a little bit cleaner. You want to sometimes look at the spacing in between characters and words. That's tracking and kerning with regard to design. You guys, in layman's terms, call it letter spacing. Letter spacing. So there is that. And we did Poppins extra bold for the font for the word week. And we just did Poppins semi-bold for this one. And the difference in the font sizes here is 85 point versus 269. So in general, what tends to work, and we modify these a little bit, for example, what tends to work is something like doing combinations where you use 1x versus 3x. So what I just did just now, for example, is if I make this 80 point font, and then I make this one that says week, if I make this 240 point, that's a 1 to 3 combination. And it's still going to look really good with a 1 to 3 combination. And then we're just going to tighten up the line spacing. And then the thing is, this is very close, but it's just off a little bit because we want the edge of the E to line up with the K. So instead of fixating on it being exactly 3 to 1, we just make it close and then we visually tweak it. And there you go. Now, what we have going for us here is this is actually a very simple background. This has a background where we have some stragglers, we have some people in a dystopian society. And what we did was we put a black brush over that to fade that out where we need the text to pop more. And then we also just threw in, Mr. Iron Man here, Mr. Tony Stark, Mr. Robert Downey Jr. And this is an image that I generated with a prompt in AI to get the colors this way. You could do this manually in Photoshop, but I figured, I could just do this very quickly, generating it. A lot of people don't like that, don't agree with that, but you can see that this makes a really, really strong thumbnail. But it's because I understand thumbnail principles. I didn't have to be this massively great artist, and you could recreate most of what I did here with stock photography. If you don't want to use AI tools, you could use stock photography, you could license photos, you could do a custom photo shoot, and then you could do a little bit of the lighting manually if you're a good photographer, or you could just punch it up in Photoshop. So there are options here if you so desire when it comes to creating this type of imagery. But as a lot of you are saying in the chat right now, you're saying this is an absolute banger and this looks great. But look at how simplistic it is to achieve. Look at how few layers in Photoshop I needed to pull it off. But what it has going for it is the social proof and status of Robert Downey Jr. It has interesting eye-catching elements with these men that are tied to the sentence here of modern men are weak and looking at the struggling people in dystopian society. I took inspiration from Fight Club for this. And so we have something visually attractive at a glance. We have something that is interesting at a glance, an interesting idea with storytelling at a glance. We have bold colors. We absolutely have bold and contrasting colors and text. We have eye-catching elements with these people in this dystopia. And then we have our status and social proof in the form of Mr. Robert Downey Jr. So that is how we execute the vibes framework. We showed you and talked about the vibes framework, but now you've seen practical executions of it. And the thing is, if you start analyzing your favorite YouTubers and their most successful videos, you will see elements of the vibes framework appear, if not the entire vibes framework appear when it comes to their videos. So that is the thumbnail portion of this. Let's talk about clickable titles and let's talk about the clicks method. The clicks method is something that I derived to explain why some titles are better than others and to create an effective checklist for whether a title is a good title. So, concise wording. Are we saying this is in as few words as possible? Are we saying this is in as few words as possible? Are we saying this at a third to fifth grade reading level? Because we want to be third to fifth grade reading level, lower if we can get it. That doesn't have to be a hard line in the sand for you, but it would be nice if it's close to that. So that would help you as far as concise language. Are we leveraging human psychology? Is there a primal trigger for this? Is there a reason psychologically for people to be emotionally invested in this? Is this title identifying with the viewer? And how is this title identifying with the viewer? So, viewer identity. A lot of my titles will use the phrase small YouTuber, new YouTuber. That's viewer identity. Can we compel emotion in our title? And for keywords, instead of worrying about SEO keywords, are we using keywords that will trigger our audience? Keywords that are recognizable immediately to our audience. So that is incredibly powerful. And then in the title, can we convey some type of status or social proof? If we can, we should. So the clicks method. Now, in terms of where you might see this in execution, and very good examples of this, it doesn't always have to be the biggest YouTuber in the world to pull this off effectively. It certainly doesn't hurt, mind you. It certainly doesn't hurt, but it can be something that you can execute and get great results from, even as a small YouTuber. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to share a I'm actually going to share a YouTube channel from a smaller YouTuber that I think has done this effectively at least a few times. So we're going to go to a channel here that I've reviewed in my YouTube channel reviews that we do on Fridays here. And this is the YouTube channel Axe Pawpaw. He has 4,000 subscribers. He's made 80 videos. He's building a tiny home and a simple life, and he's building a tiny home for his family, including his daughter and grandchildren. And so you can see they have quite a few videos here, not a ton. They've been doing this for a couple of months, less than a year, 4,000 subscribers. But look at some of these videos, and we'll just sort by the most popular to give you a sense here. So look at the most popular videos on their channel. Small YouTubers can get big results and big views when they do things effectively. So there's a lot these people are doing right. So if you look at Axe Pawpaw in the channel here, they address something that a lot of people would be interested in. Is buying a shed for a tiny home worth it? The real cost. So, a couple of things going on here. They're using both the vibes and the clicks method. Vibes framework and clicks method. So, in this title, is buying a shed for a tiny home worth it? The real cost. That's pretty concise language. It's not cutting off in YouTube. I think this is less than 50 characters, honestly. And all of these are only 1 to 2 syllable words. So this is very easy to read for a fifth grade or lower reading level. So it uses concise language. In terms of the psychological element being leveraged here, it's curiosity that's being leveraged here. And I would also say that by introducing the real cost, there's an element of conflict and conspiracy there because he's suggesting, is it worth it? Is it not worth it? Are you being screwed over? So implying those things is important. In terms of the identity of the audience, it's people who are interested in tiny homes. So there's an identity there. In terms of compelling emotion, it's about whether it's worth it. So there's the anxiety of wasting time, wasting money, being invested in something that doesn't work out. So that's the emotional compelling, the emotional triggers here, the psychological and emotional triggers here. The emotion being compelled is anxiety, fear and uncertainty. Is this going to be worth it if you're trying to build a tiny home? So that's there. Same thing here with how our tiny home saved our retirement and how you can do it too. Now, this isn't as concise in its language, but it is concise in the sense that it's below a fifth grade reading level and the words are short and they're not really multi-syllabic. So that's playing out here. The and how you can do it too is a connection with the identity of the audience. So very powerful. The compelling part is it saved our retirement. There's an emotional story there that is interesting at a glance. Look at what they're doing here. This isn't even the most immaculate thumbnail, but it's good in the sense of what it does effectively. You can scan it at a glance and understand what's going on here. It's not following every single rule, but pretty close. And because think about it, on the bottom, it's only using 4 words in a single line on the bottom, and it's only using 2 words per line at the top, and it's only using 3 lines total. It is scannable. It has the element there that says paid, and you can see the house in the background there. And you can see these are real people. These are real average looking people that you can identify with. This could be your parents. This could be your grandparents. So there's that emotionally driver too, and there's that form of social proof with the paid. The stamp that says paid is letting you know that they've succeeded in doing this. So that's effective here. And so this is why a small YouTube channel with 4,000 subscribers has been doing it less than a year, 80 videos total, with more than half of those being YouTube Shorts, by the way, can still get these outsized views. And they didn't even have to get the clicks or vibes method 100% perfect in order to pull this off. So this is also my way of proving to you that you can do this and that we're not here just to show you big YouTubers who have every advantage under the sun when we describe and we implement these ideas and we talk about this. So you can see for it with your own eyes exactly how the clicks method and how the vibes framework can work even when you don't execute them to full effect. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you a handful of channels from the Academy members that do this extremely well. So we're going to look at becoming a farm girl. We're going to look at Cassandra's channel. She's crushing it. She just hit another milestone. She hit 300,000 subscribers, I think, this week. And we're going to look at Contempo Coding from Victoria. And we're going to look at an entertainment channel for you guys. We're going to look at a reaction channel that does music reactions. We're going to look at Magnify Reacts. And we're going to show you that these successful Academy members, we're going to show you how they're implementing these things. So this is Cassie's channel, Becoming a Farm Girl. And I want to show you how she does her titles and thumbnails and how effective they are. She just hit 300,000 subscribers. So if you look at her videos, they are based in photography and in creating these realistic thumbnails for the most part. And so you can see they're very good. You can see that they're very attractive. And she does videos around pantry hauls, gardening, um, doing a lot of the homesteading, etc. And so you can see that the quality doesn't change between her videos, by the way, but topic, title, thumbnail, timing impacts what the views are. But as you can see, photography is the strongest basis of her views. And you can see that she applies a lot of what we said about the vibes framework, about being visually interesting at a glance, bold and eye-catching text, and so on and so forth. And also doing a very interesting eye-catching elements. And so you can see exactly how these very photography driven thumbnails have been super effective for Cassie and her content. You also, if you look at her titles, they are easy to read and they are compelling. You should be buying your meat and groceries like this. What to buy. Again, this is a little bit of a longer title, but what to buy for your pantry. Okay, so you can see also, by the way, long title or short title doesn't matter. Good channel does. Long title, short title doesn't matter. Good title does. So again, this is Cassie's content. You can learn a lot from her as a creator case study in how to be effective with your thumbnails and how photography based thumbnails are incredibly powerful and they are the modern YouTube meta. Your favorite big YouTubers with millions of subscribers are mostly doing photography based thumbnails that are staged where they use photography and props. Next, we have Victoria from Contempo Coding. She does an education-based channel around medical coding. She's almost to 200,000 subscribers. Cassandra came to us with less than 20,000 subscribers. I think Victoria came to us with less than 10,000 subscribers. And they're both in the Awesome Creator Academy Pro group. If you're interested in joining the pro group and being around like-minded creators who take YouTube seriously, make sure you check that out. www.awesomecreatoracademy.com/join. The link is in the description in the YouTube channel. So Victoria from Contempo Coding is actually the largest medical coding channel on YouTube, and it's a growing interest topic because it is a high-paying profession that doesn't require a degree. And so she teaches you what you need to know about that. She's also been featured in magazine publications for her niche. Now, these are evergreen how-to information-based videos, and you can see the thumbnails are very strong here, very well designed, very template-oriented, and very well branded. Now, the thing is, she has some very popular videos in her niche, but these are evergreen videos because these type of videos just keep growing and growing over time, and videos about professions do well. This is ideal for a lot of you that are white collar professionals that want to help other people enter into your career field, or if you've left your career field or retired, but you want to share how someone can do this, it gave you a good life, you want to trade war stories, there's an opportunity to be successful in this. This worked for me as well, and it was very easy to coach Victoria because we were able to reverse engineer what I did when I was teaching people graphic design and photography and video editing. So when I was teaching people about my former career as a freelancer and as an in-house creative, we were able to reverse engineer that because this is another white collar profession, even though it's different. So this is another example. And you can see aspects of the vibes framework and clicks framework working here. The social proof for her is her background and is mentioning medical coding in the videos. It's also the value proposition to the viewer, and she uses posing and props to make the thumbnails as interesting as possible. And she does these poses and she uses props like the books and other things to get these to be compelling and things you want to click on. And so you can see this does very well for her. There's also a great business angle that works here that has made her a lot of money, doing well over $10,000 a month in revenue, closer to 20 these days. But we'll talk about monetization in another workshop. But This one is about titles and thumbnails and getting views, and you can see that this works. So this is another one of our successful Academy members in the pro group who has managed to apply these things and grow her channel successfully over the last 2 years. And again, 2 years ago, she was a small YouTuber like many of you. This is Mugnify Reacts. He's done a lot of videos. You can see he's done over 2,000 videos because he's a daily reaction channel. And again, reaction videos for music are hit or miss. You see his thumbnails are immaculate. They're incredible. Now, his views take a while to grow because they're evergreen views and also because people have this different taste in music. He uploads 2 to 3 videos a day. He also does members only content for his paying channel members. Now, you may not think these views are impressive aside from this outlier from 10 days ago, but he's in a niche where doing less and trying to go quality over quantity would not necessarily work for him. Reaction channels are not quality over quantity at all. And there is with music, very reactions in particular, it's based on taste and timing. So with taste and timing, very hit or miss. Here's what you need to see that's going to help you understand why his channel is successful, though, and why I'm using him as an example. See, music reviews are evergreen, so the longer they're up, the better they do, and the more of them you make, the more money they print. So if we sort by his most popular videos of all time, well, that's a horse of another color. And as you can see, they're not all super, super old videos. 2 of them are just a year old because these are the type of videos that can get new viewers every single day that they exist. And so now you can understand why he floods the channel with so many videos is because they can get views every day that they exist because of how music works in YouTube and how music works as a niche with these music reaction videos. And as you can see, he goes hard on these thumbnails. They're visually attractive at a glance. They are interesting at a glance, bold, eye-catching colors and text and so on. And he's using the artist and the albums as the social proof and status. So great example here with Anwar from Magnify Reacts when it comes to being able to do effective entertainment content as a reaction channel. And you'll notice he's using, and we talked about this, reaction poses, reaction framing, and that he has these various expressions and it works extremely well. You can see the views. But with reaction content like his, it's evergreen reaction content. It's not get as many views as possible this week reaction content. So it's actually stronger in that way because you could see this at any time and want to click on it. So that's why most of his biggest videos, 1 to 2 years, and they're still getting views. And you can see he has quite a few over well over 100,000. He has basically over a dozen videos over 100,000. Anwar has been hitting it for about 3 years. He came to us with 2,000 subscribers and hitting it aggressively. Just kept pushing content, pushing content, pushing content. And you see where he is now. So brute force is still a strategy that works in YouTube. It's not the perfect strategy for everyone, but for his format, he's dialed it in and locked it in, and it works for him. And you can see it works to massive effect. So that is something that can be incredibly powerful. I saw a comment here from Little Crafty Nook. I don't see how I can create social proof and status with greeting cards, a picture of a famous crafter. No, famous crafters don't make greeting cards interesting. Recreating greeting cards and recreating a greeting card from scratch that is significant, recreating Hallmark greeting cards from scratch would be much more interesting to people to see if you can recreate a Hallmark greeting card yourself from scratch is much more interesting to people. The social proof is Hallmark. Now, in terms of another entertainment channel, just to give you another entertainment channel example, and this is not a channel I've worked with, but is a huge supporter of what I do, and I believe is in the live chat now. Grape Tea News. Oops, mute button, mute button. Autoplay, man, autoplay. Y'all with the autoplays. So anyway, um, Grape Tea News is not someone I've coached directly, but has been a supporter of the channel, has done super chats, shows up to the live streams. I believe is in this live stream right now. And as you can see, her thumbnails are actually very impressive and they're very compelling. And if we look at her most popular videos of all time, you can see why and how she gets views. She's also someone who's used brute force over the last year or so to like year or two to aggressively just push content, push content, push content, and has successfully grown to 100,000 subscribers recently. So again, the status and social proof is easy with this one because it is the celebrities, that are being exposed in them. So that's just another example of an entertainment channel. Another example of a somewhat of an entertainment slash infotainment channel here is Minato Max. I believe he has some new stuff here. But Minato Max has effectively done this around gaming content, and look at the thumbnails and look at the quality of the thumbnails, look at the storytelling in the thumbnails. And again, this is a channel with less than 20,000 subscribers, so still a channel that would be, much like many of you that are here watching the workshop, and you can see how effective he came up with a theme where this is a series that he has running, so the titles take care of themselves, and then other of these are interesting standalone. And so look at the views. Very good for a channel under 20,000 subscribers. These views are great for a channel under 30,000 subscribers, and there are even videos that have more views than he has subscribers in this case, or at least one video with more views than he has subscribers, but probably more views than he had subscribers at the time he uploaded them. So again, a really good example of another way to implement this for a channel. So very good quality thumbnails, storytelling, social proof involved, etc. Eye-catching elements. Very high praise for these thumbnails, actually, in my opinion. So you can see that this is very effective and it does things very well. So you've seen multiple examples here of titles and thumbnail combinations that are super effective when it comes to being able to get more views for your channel and to get more reach. You guys also have seen that it is topic, title, thumbnail, and timing that decides the views of a channel. Just by hovering over these channels, there's not some drop off in the quality of their videos, the editing, the storytelling, any of that stuff. That's not deciding how these videos are performing. It does decide how many subscribers you might get, but turning viewers into subscribers. But your views are not determined by the quality of your content. It's the value of your packaging. And those are very different things. I know that a lot of big YouTubers like to conflate quality and value, but value is at a glance. We judge a book by its cover. Like my book. We judge a book by its cover. Does this look good and is it interesting? Does it catch our eye at a glance? Does it communicate something that I care about? How creators are turning their passion into profit in the creator economy. I want to turn my passion into profit. What's this about? Maybe I will go ahead and get this book. And then, oh, wait, there's more. On the back, before I ever open up the book, here's the social proof. Here's the author with a play button. Here are the specific things I care about outlined here that are interesting to me. All at a glance without me having to do more than scan. I don't have to read this paragraph, I can scan. And here's status and social proof. So literally, even a book cover, that a book we judge by its cover has to judge the vibe check. The book sells because of the front and back cover, not because of the content in and of itself. The book gets a good review based on the content itself. It doesn't get sales based on it. It gets judged on the cover. And your YouTube videos are no different. And so it's not the quality of what's in your videos that decides the views. It describes the watch time, the subscribers, the retention. It can get you more views because of that. It can get you returning viewers coming back to the channel. So I'm not saying quality is not important. You won't hear me say that. I'm saying you guys are misplacing its priority. The priority is to the packaging, which we describe as value for the viewer at a glance. At a glance. So that's the idea. That's the idea. So the thing is with social proof, and some of you are asking about social proof and whether your face is social proof. Your face isn't social proof unless you are the avatar of the thing or you're acting out the thing, or unless you yourself have status or you have a credential that is social proof. Are you a doctor? Are you an expert? Are you a lawyer? Social proof, if you're a mommy vlogger, is you holding your baby, is the social proof that you're a mom. So there's oh, I see, you are the thing that I value in the video. You are an authority to speak to this. If you're an entertainer, social proof is things like money and Lamborghinis in many cases. Or it's that if you are an athlete, it is you with the washboard abs, or it is you doing the thing, or is you doing the flip kick for the soccer ball if you're an athlete. So social proof, if you're doing entertainment, is performing the feat that says the video is about this thing. If it's entertainment. If it's not entertainment and it's education, social proof and status is usually your credential or some proof that you have the item you're talking about if you're a product reviewer, or that you've done the thing you claim to, whatever your claim to fame or success is, or the place you speak from authority. So that's how that would work. Let's see. We have a question here. We still have more of the slides to go through, but I want to get this one. The Black Tech Experience, hey, how's it going? Has asked a question. We had a consultation, and I decided to take an entire year off from my channel, but I'm not seeing much growth, even though I have more energy. Any advice? If you took a year off from your channel, then it sounds like there's life things that are going on. You might want to DM me or message me or email me privately so we can talk about what might be going on in your life where there's this big break, because that indicates that there's something outside of the content that's going on. That's something you might want to talk about privately, and we can. You might want to open up, and if you're willing to be vulnerable with me about that, then I'm happy to talk about it. But what I would say there for most people listening to this is I've seen people come back from YouTube after a year or two and be successful, but it is largely um based on, oh, it took a year off for the channel. Okay. So if you take a year off for the channel, not from, and then you're not seeing growth, then it's a matter of, usually in this particular case, you might be doing some things well, but it's a matter of the order of operations of priorities. If it's views, then it's a packaging, topic, title, thumbnail issue on views. If it's subscribers, then there might be either a disconnect in the execution of asking people to subscribe, because depending on the audience and their, most audience members will not subscribe on their own without being told or asked. That could just change the trajectory already. I coached someone just this last month that went from 500 subscribers to a month to 1,500 subscribers a month in a month, just by asking people to subscribe in every single video 2 to 3 minutes in after he created initial value for them. So asking for the subscribe grows subscriber counts. For view counts, it's packaging. The big culprit for most people is they're picking topics outside of the ones that best performed for their audience. 80/20 rule. We talked about that in last week's workshop, that here are the topics that have performed for you the best, have performed for 10 channels in your niche recently, and you need to audit that. So in a situation like yours, I would look at 10 people in my niche doing exactly similar audience-based content, same audience, not necessarily exactly same titles, blah, 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 similar audience. Why are they succeeding? What is it that I take 10 people, I take 10 of their most recent videos that performed well. So now I have 100 pieces of data. What do these things all have in common that this one audience liked universally across 10 creators and 100 videos? What are the standards of these creators' thumbnails? Do my thumbnails deserve to sit next to these and get clicked? Can my thumbnails be a priority and get clicked instead of these thumbnails? So that would mean I need to look at the topics that are performing universally in the last 30 days across my niche from a variety of creators so I can isolate what is working, pick up on that, apply those topics, figure out my version of tackling those topics and writing good titles, take my title ideas, hold them up to the title ideas of what has worked in these other creators' videos and say, would someone who cares about this also care about that? And I have to be able to answer that honestly. If I cannot answer that myself honestly, then I would use ChatGPT or Claude to evaluate and grade my title ideas and say for certain and give me a grade A through F as to how effective they would be at attracting the same people that those titles attracted. And that's my prompt. When it comes to my thumbnails, I could do something similar with that, and then I could get an evaluation and feedback. And then I also should objectively be able to look at those thumbnails and know whether mine belongs there or not. So those would be your how you address the topics, the titles, and the thumbnails. And these are all recent videos. So then that would be the timing. And therefore, you would have a basis for understanding what's going on with the views. When it comes to the subscribers, look for the early exits in the retention graph of where people are leaving 30 seconds into the video, what percentage that is. If it's over 20%, tighten up your intros, get to the point faster, make it more concise, make them feel like they're in the right place for the right reason and have something to look forward to in 5 to 8 seconds. If you're taking longer than that, it is too long. So shorten up intros going forward. You cannot do much about, and nor is it the best use of your effort to go ahead and address videos from the past if they're more than a month old or more than 2 weeks old. It is something you can do when there's nothing else important you can do, or when it's not more vital to just make a new video. A new video is the best bet in every situation. So then that would be something that you would address. And this is for everybody and anybody, by the way, in terms of this issue. So you would do those things. That improves the viewer experience, the viewer quality, and you're getting rid of the worst impact to average view duration and retention. YouTube pushes videos more, or rather pulls more people to them if they perform better and if they have less people leaving the video and clicking off the video early. So you need to delay the time of people leaving the video. Ideally, they don't leave at all. You need to increase the number of people that make it all the way to the end of the video. Completion rates, lower exit rate, lower abandonment rate at the beginning of the video, higher completion rate at the end of the video is one of the highest signals of viewer satisfaction. The biggest signal is them binge watching more content from you and staying on your channel longer every day, every session, and every week that they possibly can, and creating the binge viewing habit. So that is how you would address retention and viewer satisfaction. As I said, that helps with the odds that someone will want to subscribe for more of this content, but they have to be verbally and visually prompted to do it usually. It's not enough to just flash a graphic that says subscribe if you're not going to say the words, please subscribe to the channel. So 2 to 3 minutes into a video, all of you should be saying, hey, if you enjoy my content and you want to see more videos like this, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Don't miss another video. That takes less than 3 seconds to ask for exactly what you want, and it can 2x, 3x, or 10x the number of subscribers you get in a month if you do it for every single video that you upload in a month. So you need to be doing that. So that is what you need to be doing if you want your subscribers to go up, is you improve the viewer experience and enjoyment by tightening up the intro, getting to the point faster, and then keeping the energy per minute, value per minute, if not value per second, high enough for them to be invested. That doesn't mean you have to have an aggressive, hyper editing, caffeinated editing style. It does mean you have to have compelling storytelling and you have to be able to communicate effectively. I am live streaming right now across 6 different platforms and am keeping almost 400 viewers engaged, and we don't have any editing. So it's entirely possible for you guys to accomplish this without over editing your videos. So that matters. If you can do that, asking for the subscribe 2 to 3 minutes in, super effective. You'll get more subscribers that way. But remember, I already told you how to fix the viewers up front for the videos. Then you are going to do the hook better, do the intro better, and then we deliver some value. We ask for the subscribe. We keep as many of them to the end. We rinse and repeat. We make sure they watch other videos. We make related topics to our best performing videos. If there's videos that perform better than others, we take the top 20% of our videos or the top 20 videos overall. We find ways to make more of that so we attract more of our tribe. We don't worry about being repetitive when things work, because every time we upload, 50 to 80% of our viewers were never subscribed to us in the first place and are not returning viewers, they are new viewers. If you don't believe me, check your own YouTube analytics. It will prove this. For most of you, there will be exceptions to the rule. Some of you are Minecraft gamers and your stats are different. I digress. So we make what worked and what is working for us, but we also make what is working the most for people in our niche, and we analyze 5 to 10 of those people, and we look at their last 5 to 10 recent videos for confirmation of what's working and why. A good tool to help us with this is oneof10.com. I believe we have it linked in the description. If we don't, mods, can you drop the link in the chat? And if you use code Roberto, you get 50% off, and if you use code AWESOME, you get a free trial. So 1 of 10 can help you with that research. I believe we addressed that in last week's workshop. So that could help you find the outliers that are performing for other people in your niche. So if you do all of those things, now you're getting views because you've addressed topic, title, thumbnail, and timing, what's relevant, what matters more, what matters most, what's a priority, how your thumbnails have to match the energy of what is working, what people want to click on, how your topics have to be relevant and timed correctly, and then how your titles have to be effective and strong and match the level of intensity, intentionality, and energy of what people already respond to. Then, but in your own way with your own twist. Then we talked about the hook. We talked about retention. We talked about a call to action that grows the channel. Because if we're talking about growth, most of you growth means reach, which is views. It means being able to grow your reputation, your own status and social proof, which is subscribers. And then if it's revenue, well, if you're getting more views, you have more opportunities to make money. And the same way you used a call to action to grow your reputation, you can use a call to action to grow your revenue. So reach, reputation, revenue. So views, subscribers, monetization. And that's the framework of what we mostly teach with Awesome Creator Academy. And then we get into specifics. So as I said, if you've been doing this and you're not seeing growth, if any of you are under 20,000 subscribers, tweaking the things we just talked about would be the most important thing you could probably do. Thank you, This Old House, for the what I think is a $10 super chat, because it is 1,000 yen. So thank you. And then we just addressed this super chat from the Black Tech Experience. And then we have a new channel member, but I cannot read what language that is, which is most likely Arabic. Now we still have some slides to get through here for our presentation and some things we want to address. So we demonstrated the Vibes framework for clickable thumbnails, and we demonstrated the clicks method for titles. I want to address your basic core creator fundamentals that we are going to continue to talk about for the remainder of the 12 weeks. And of course, you can download the slides with the link in the description. And thank you to the mods for posting that in the chat. But themes, the themes of your content, the tribe you want to attract, the talent that makes you unique, the total addressable market for your ideas, the transformation your videos bring, the topics that matter to your tribe, the titles that identify with your viewer and trigger them, the thumbnails that attract them at a glance, the timing that makes it relevant, the triggers that make them emotionally invested, how you're going to test what is working, how you're going to track what is working, how you create trust and transparency with your audience, how testimonials elevate your social proof, and the takeaways that make your audience satisfied. These are the 15 fundamentals that every creator needs to know and needs to understand to be able to be a successful content creator. Now, we talked a bit about the thumbnail and title combos. Remember, titles and thumbnails have to work together. The thumbnail is to get their visual attention and get them to stop scrolling, usually in their phone. About 70% or more of all traffic on YouTube is on a mobile device. But even if it's not, you still need to get them to pay attention and filter out all the other things on their screen, whether it's a laptop, a desktop, or a television screen, and get them to click on that. It's the Netflix effect. So you need to be able to do that with the thumbnail. And the title has to make sense to them, be easy to read, easy to understand, and they have to identify with it, and it has to communicate or trigger some desire in them. So you need that. And you have to have these things work together. They don't work in isolation. Even if you have a video perform with an imperfect title or imperfect thumbnail, having one or both be better could have been 10x more views for you to be able to have. So it really is that important. And these are skills. This is not a matter of luck. This is not a matter of chance. It's a matter of choice to develop these skills. Developing these skills really, really matter because YouTube is competitive. We talked about how competitive it is. And this is why the overwhelming majority of you are under 20,000 subscribers or under 10,000 subscribers. And this is how we address it. So earlier we talked about that audience, how the audience avatar is important when it comes to addressing them. You need to know their challenges, their preferences, their biases, the psychographics that create their triggers, and the demographics that dictate their lifestyle. So when you understand this, the reason this is so powerful is that the creator who best understands their audience wins. The creator who makes the best content doesn't win. The creator who understands their audience the best wins. So, if you understand someone's lifestyle, it'll usually be based on their demographics, how old they are, whether they're male or female, where they live in the world, where they live in the country, where they live regionally. These things will dictate a lot about their lifestyle. And that's important. For example, it could dictate timing. If most of your audience is on the East Coast, that affects the timing you go live or publish a video. If you're in the UK, that affects timing. It affects culture. It affects preferences. It affects biases. If you're in Canada, that affects culture, timing, biases, seasonality of content. If that's where your audience is. If your audience is children, that affects their biases, their preferences, the timing, and their challenges. Same thing if your audience is Gen X. So it matters. The psychological differences between Gen X and millennials and what their priorities are matter, and what their value system is. Same thing for the difference between millennials and Gen Z, or Gen Z and Gen X, or Gen Z and boomers. Their value system is going to be completely different. So they're going to have different psychographics. They're going to value different things, prioritize different things, and have different biases. They're going to have different preferences. They're going to have different challenges. The more you understand this, the easier it gets to make content that they will relate to. So if you're struggling to grow, no matter how long you've been doing this, no matter how long you haven't been doing this, no matter how many videos you've published, if you're struggling to grow, consider the possibility that you don't understand your audience as well as you think they do. You may not understand your audience. as well as you think you do. This is a buying persona. This is sometimes in business what's called a customer avatar. We're YouTubers, we're content creators, we're doing Instagram, we're doing TikTok. So we're going to call it the audience avatar because we have audience members rather than mere customers in most cases. So it represents the audience, the tribe you want to attract to your content. You need to understand them better than anyone and cater to them better than anyone. When we talk about view psychology and triggers, there are more triggers out there than this, but these are the 5 that you will absolutely see in almost every single YouTube video that gets 1 million views in 90 days. It'll have one of these triggers: curiosity, conspiracy, conflict, controversy, confusion. Confusion in the market could be people who don't understand how tariffs work. That's a big one right now. People got some views. People got 1 million views in 30 to 90 days explaining how tariffs work and explaining tariffs versus taxes or explaining Social Security. It works. Controversy. Controversy sells. It always has. If it bleeds, it leads. And this could mean controversial figures, controversial topics. You know, it's funny. Controversy. The 4 taboos of the workplace and of life have manifested in some of the most viewed YouTube videos of the last 90 days, of the last 3 months. What do I mean by that? Religion. You usually don't talk about religion, money, politics, or your relationships, your personal life. Those 4 topics are the leading daily topics getting the highest views in YouTube from non-famous YouTubers. Non-famous YouTubers are breaking through by talking about dating, relationships, etc. Everything in that. They are winning, talking about politics more than ever. They're winning, talking about religion more than ever. And talking about money is one of the single greatest hacks there is in YouTube. Those are controversial topics in the modern world that until recent time were forbidden to talk about in the workplace, forbidden to talk about in public, forbidden to talk about when you're on a date. Those taboos have brought in millions of views on YouTube. Curiosity. Curiosity is broad, but it's also the thing that most people struggle with in terms of making content that people will be genuinely curious about. It's also why the spectacle content of people like Mr. Beast, Mark Rober, people like, why am I spacing on this name? Matt Beam, they do well because they can elicit curiosity. Veritasium with his science channel can elicit curiosity. They make things that are too interesting or too weird to ignore. Jack Gordon is another example. Conspiracy. CoffeeZilla exposes conspiracies in the form of white-collar crimes that people commit, Bitcoin scams, fraud, so on and so forth. Conspiracy. True crime is one of the largest growing niches in YouTube right now. So that's something you could look at. Conflict. Conflict is incredibly powerful. It's using aggressive themes and language. It could be conflict because it could be um people, it could be framing one person as a hero, one person as a villain. That could be conflict. Conflict could be the celebrity gossip and drama and conflict between 2 people, Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni, for example. So conflict could be um, beyond controversy. It could be direct conflict. It could also be conflict between brands and products. It could be versus videos. It could be comparison videos. You can create conflict through tier list videos as well. You could also tap into things people are conflicted about. incredibly powerful. So these are just examples of primary psychological triggers. I call these the 5 C's of clickbait because any clickbait video that you see that gets rapid views uses one or more of these elements to get millions of views. I want to introduce to you the focus framework as a way of considering how to tie your topic, titles, thumbnails, timing all together. Because I think the focus framework, when it comes to your topic choices, encompasses all of it. So it's aligning topics to your audience's interests and goals. And so that's very important. Outliers, by standing out and choosing less obvious but compelling ideas, things that you can find where there's an interesting title and thumbnail to be had there that could stand out. Context and making it relevant to the viewer and their challenges and desires. That also encompasses timing to be relevant. Uniqueness, that comes down to your unique talent, your unique approach. And then specificity, narrowing down for clarity and precision, usually through the title itself. So again, I think that the focus framework helps you understand what to focus on to be effective. And I think that if you do this, you would get more views. And so we want to go ahead and kind of give you a general outline for content strategy. We've talked about this before, and this will be a theme throughout our workshops going forward. We have 12 workshops. This is workshop number 3. We do these on Wednesday evenings for you. You want to determine your audience avatar. You want to know who you serve, and you want to figure out how to serve them best. You want to define your unique value proposition. This is your talent. This is your talent. The audience avatar, they're your tribe. You want to find the unique talent that will be attractive to that tribe. You want to develop content pillars aligned to your audience avatar. These are the themes that you create around. You want to have great individual video ideas to execute. These are your titles. You want to have effective packaging, primarily your title and thumbnail combinations. You need to decide on a posting frequency for your primary content. You need to understand good timing when it comes to this and what good timing for consistency, relevancy, and speed will look like for you. You should consider a strategy for repurposing and distribution, if for no other reason to test certain things in different platforms in the market, but also to be able to create more traction and so that more people can know who you are and you can build brand. You need to determine your ideal collaborations and partnerships. You need to be very intentional about those. And you need to deep dive into your analytics and test things and let the data decide, make data-driven decisions. And so these are the things that I think are important for developing your content strategy. So there you go. That is our presentation and workshop for this week on a Wednesday. This is our Wednesday workshop series, and we're focusing right now on content creators, all of you who have less than 20,000 subscribers in YouTube. There may be some of you who have more, but this could be a great refresher for you, and there may be some things you're not doing as well as you could be doing. So this is very important to us. We make sure you have the slides for these presentations every week from Awesome Creator Academy. We link them in the description of the YouTube channel. We have the mods posting them in the chat. Thank you to all the mods, Home Rapid Repair, Larry, Katie Ukulele, and all the rest. We also invite you to take our free Creator Foundations course. We believe we have 900 students who have signed up for that since December. So we've been doing that for about 3 months now. We have 900 students in there. It's a free course. It's $0, but it's a pay what you want, pay what you can course. So it's $0 and free unless you want to make a small donation. $2, $5, $10, whatever you can afford. If you feel like I've ever created $1 in value for you, you can go ahead and you can make that donation. Or if you want to make sure that you're getting absolute value yourself, you could do it at $0 and donate nothing. But we make this available for you. It's going to cost you an email address at least, and you can sign up for that. So we have that Creator Foundations course linked in the description. What you're going to get is we answer, I think, 20 and some more coming, immediate questions that most new content creators struggle with. We have a lecture series that we're adding to. It will be 10 lectures on the 10 pillars of YouTube. We also have a 90-minute monetization masterclass that I gave as a live in-person workshop in New York. That event company is no longer around. We gave you that live in-person workshop and masterclass that I did, and we posted it in the Free Creator Foundations course, and it focuses on monetization, including questions and also a little spiel from me about brand deals and sponsorships. I do over 100,000 usually in sponsorship relationships, partnerships over the course of a year between UGC content and other types of partnerships, speaking partnerships, promoting things on the channel, amplification, etc. So I do about 100,000 plus a year just in sponsorships. Sponsorships is usually my biggest YouTube revenue stream. Coaching isn't even my biggest revenue stream. It's sponsorships. Just like every regular YouTuber. We give you a 90-minute masterclass teaching you how to increase AdSense revenue, use affiliate programs like the Amazon Influencer Program. When I got started as a small YouTuber, I was able to pay my rent and utilities with the money I made from the Amazon Influencer Program. That's back when rent was $960 in North Carolina in the middle of nowhere. Around Fort Bragg, $960 for a 3-bedroom house. I was making $1,200 to $1,500 as an Amazon affiliate. Now we have the Amazon Influencer Program. Back then it was the Amazon Associates Program. I was selling tech, camera gear, laptops, referring those things, computer parts if you want to build a video editing machine. And so by promoting that content every week for Tech Tuesday, at the time when I was a tech and tutorials channel from 0 to 100,000 subscribers, and then some. I was a tech and tutorials channel. I wasn't doing YouTube help content. In fact, I think 30% of my content is only YouTube help content is only 30% of all my content. So I was doing tech and tutorials. I was making $1,500 a month. Doesn't sound like a lot of money for me. That was like about half of what my old paycheck used to be at the job, and I was making a passive income with Amazon. And then after that, later YouTube AdSense started to work out. I wasn't doing well with YouTube AdSense in the very beginning. I was making less than 300 a month from that. It was something. I had my freelance clients, but with me in the very beginning, I was able to largely use the Amazon affiliate program and do very well. I was able to pay rent and utilities with it because in North Carolina, it's $960 and I was making $1,200, $1,500 a month. So it is possible to succeed with this. And so, like I said, we have that free Creator Foundations course. You can find it linked in the description. You can find it over at Awesome Creator Academy. And we also have it in the chat for you guys. You also, of course, can join us every Tuesday and Thursday in the Awesome Creator Academy Pro group if you're interested in that. We have a link, awesomecreatoracademy.com/join. And you can find out more about that. Or if you have questions, I'll happily answer those, or you can DM me over on X. But yeah, let's go to the chat. We'll wrap this up. We're almost 2 hours in. I think it's been a great workshop. I think it was great for you guys to be able to see some simplified examples of thumbnails, some more advanced or robust examples of thumbnails, how they can be effective. And we showed you real YouTubers that these methods are working for from the Academy Pro group, as well as some of the people who've done the channel reviews that we do on Fridays. If you want to come for the Friday channel reviews, we do those via super chats. And we also talked about some of you who are part of our live streaming audience who've never paid me anything, and how some of you have benefited from taking the advice. So we have that out there for you so you can see real world examples of creators being effective. So let's go to the chat and see what questions we have. So we have a question earlier that the mods caught from Follow Your Bliss Life. Question: when you use AI images for thumbnails, do you need to check the AI generated for YouTube? And if so, have you seen YouTube being cautious about serving up videos with AI generated thumbnails? Great question. Mr. Beast uses AI generated thumbnails. There's AI generated elements in Mr. Beast thumbnails all the time and does a lot of A/B testing with this. They check that box. They haven't had any problems getting views. But aside from Mr. Beast, I've seen small channels do this all the time and use AI generated thumbnails. Like, for example, Darth Theorist, Three-Eyed Raven. Sorry, no, Three-Eyed Theorist. Three-Eyed Theorist is another theory channel for Game of Thrones. Conclave uses these. I've seen channels get hundreds of thousands of views with AI thumbnails with no problem from YouTube suppressing them. I think if you do AI thumbnails, it's fine to check the box if you want to be extra safe, but I have not seen YouTube suppressing views from AI thumbnails. In fact, YouTube itself has an AI generator through Google DeepMind VO version 2, competing with ChatGPT, DALL-E 3, and Midjourney, and so on. So YouTube and Google are in the AI creation game. They are not punishing creators for using AI at all. At all. In fact, a lot of people in Reddit are mad that YouTube is not punishing people for using AI. All right. So we have another question here. As my channel is growing, I used to make more in ad revenue compared to Amazon affiliate sales. However, I think I see a trend that Amazon other affiliate programs will make me more. Any thoughts? For a long time before sponsorships, affiliate revenue was my strongest revenue stream in YouTube. Then Awesome Creator Academy became my strongest revenue stream in YouTube when it crossed 100,000 in revenue per year, and we've been doing that for 7 years straight now, 100,000 in revenue. We had affiliate marketing up doing near those numbers at peak before the pandemic happened. We had that with affiliate marketing. And so affiliate marketing was the strongest stream, but then here came sponsors and sponsors started doing those numbers. Larry from Home Rapid Repair, what I foresee for you is that affiliate will surpass AdSense, absolutely. And it will compound with your type of content faster than AdSense, especially if you start posting affiliate roundups in your community tab. It will absolutely grow affiliate revenue faster than AdSense by a lot, because it creates a scenario where your potential RPM is just significantly higher because of the commissions. An example of this is when I review a high-end, high-quality camera or camera lens. So, primary example. If I review a high-end camera or camera lens like this, these Sony cameras are really expensive, and so are the lenses. When I review a Sony camera, let's say I only got 10,000 views on a camera review, and then everyone wanted to clown me. Every single one of these professional Sony G Master lenses that I sell is a $90 commission. A $90 commission. So to make $1,000, I only need 12 sales out of 10,000 people who exclusively clicked on a camera or lens review. And so this is why I was able to make so much money in Amazon when I was a tech and tutorials channel focused on photography and Photoshop tutorials and video production and video editing, all my freelancer stuff. The reason it worked and the reason I made so much money for what it was at the time for me was because even if I only got 5,000, 10,000 views on a video, they exclusively were camera buyers to begin with and camera enthusiasts to begin with. If out of them, only a fraction of them, 0.1%, took it seriously, I would make hundreds, if not thousands of dollars in commissions over time from those videos. The AdSense didn't matter. It was irrelevant because if 1 in 1,000 people bought a camera lens or camera body, I was going to make nearly $100. If they bought a camera accessory, 1 in 1,000 people, I was going to make $20 to $30, $40 commissions. So because of affiliate marketing, when you do it correctly, or if you have your own products to sell or your own services to sell, you can move the goalpost and you can have as high as an RPM as you want. 1 in 1,000 buyers does that. If it's high enough, 1 in 10,000 buyers does that. If I started to make video, when the brand deals course is completed, when the brand deals course is completed, and let's say I sell that course for $699, if I get 1 in 1,000 people to buy, which is a 0.1% conversion rate, then I have a $69 RPM. I have a $70 RPM if I sell a course, and 1 in 10,000 people. If 1 in 10,000 people buy a $700 course, you drop a zero because we said 10,000, so you drop a zero. You have a $70 RPM. You have a $70 RPM if 1 in 10,000 people. So that's actually not a 0.1 conversion rate. That's a 0.01 conversion rate. So it's a 0.01 conversion. 0.01 conversion, $70 RPM if you're a course seller. 1 in 1,000 people buy a piece of camera gear. 1 in 1,000, you could have a $40, $50, $90 RPM. That's why affiliate is so powerful, and that's why direct sales of your own product are so powerful. That's the reason. YouTube AdSense is nothing in comparison to that. Love YouTube, love the partner program, but it's nothing in comparison. And now we got a great thank you super chat from Larry from Home Rapid Repair. Appreciate you, man. So, by the way, if you do views and you do live streaming, technically, if you get donations and you get $20 for every 1 in 1,000 people in donations that view a stream or something, you literally got a $20 RPM then. Well, after YouTube takes its cut of 30%, it's actually a $14 RPM, but you get my point. So what that means is AdSense is one of the least profitable opportunities if you change your mindset, which we will talk about in our videos around monetization. And if I decide to do Mondays, because Mondays I do so much with Aaron's coaching and working out, and my weighted squats have been killing me. But my body hates me right now, but it'll love me later. The deal with monetization is many of you are settling for $1, $2, $5 RPMs, and you're not optimizing your business strategy for thinking about how you would get 30, 40, and $50 RPMs by turning 1 in 1,000 viewers into a customer that supports you with their wallet instead of their eyeballs alone, either through something like the Amazon affiliate program. And the thing is, a lot of you could you don't have to sell camera gear, but you could look at what aligns with your audience that has a $5 to $10 commission, and how can you get a bulk of your audience to buy into that. You do understand that's why tech YouTubers, even with consumer tech products and budget 50 deals under $50 YouTubers and beauty YouTubers, you realize that's how they make their money. It's not the AdSense, it's that. And then the buying power from that and the proof of sales from them tracking their affiliate links lets them go to sponsors, prove that they can sell, and then they double dip and get sponsor and affiliate money. And that's when they then don't get with the manufacturer and co-brand and build their own makeup palette or build their own tech accessories. See, y'all do not know what I know, and I'm not saying that to brag, and it's not the only sales pitch for the Academy, but this is the kind of thing we talk about in the Academy Pro Group. This is why we tell people to join the Pro Group is we talk about reach, yes. We talk about social proof and reputation, absolutely. We love talking about money, and it's easier to talk about money in a private group and community where you feel comfortable to be vulnerable about that rather than in public forums, because it's one of the 4 taboos for a reason in society. And you get sometimes people don't know how to act when they talk about money. There's a lot of envy. There's a lot of negative feelings. There's also embarrassment sometimes, but when you have people you can trust and you feel good around and that are encouraging you and are genuinely invested in helping you, then it's different. So we talk openly about money. It's why I was one of the first YouTubers to ever show my AdSense payments. Back when everyone thought it'd get you banned and kicked out of the AdSense program, I read the end user agreement. I read the legal jargon. I actually consulted a lawyer, which no one was willing to do. And I found out, nope, I can show my AdSense revenue on screen in live streams. And I was one of the first YouTubers to publicly post my AdSense revenue and expose all of it and show you that and show you my RPMs, show you my CPMs, put it all out there because I was smart enough to read the actual terms of service and realize I could get away with it. And I was one of the first people to do that. Those of you who've been watching the channel for a long time know that. And so um, I started putting that out there for a reason. And it's because if you understand how other people are making their money and you understand what's possible and they explain it to you in a way that's realistic and where you can wrap your head around it and it makes sense, you realize that not everything out there is a get rich quick scheme. Not everything out there is a scam. Most people just understand how value creation works and realize how they can create an opportunity around redirecting what people already care about and saying, how can I insert myself there? You guys are doing it with your videos. You're going the roundabout way with the ad revenue. The ad revenue is advertisers trying to sell, and they'll pay you a certain amount of money for that, and they pay YouTube 50% of that, and it's fractional because they're trying to get a new customer. But sponsors will pay directly for that. Affiliates will pay you a commission on that. And you can also just do it yourself. And all three of those things will absolutely out earn ad revenue when done correctly. Sponsor money absolutely outweighs ad revenue. Affiliate commissions can if done properly because you're getting a chunk of a sale. Instead of an advertiser paying you for views, they're paying you a commission. So you're getting a chunk of the whole thing. And if you sell a product yourself, you get the whole thing and you keep it all and you don't split it with YouTube. Those things all are more profitable. Recurring revenue from membership sites and membership platforms, if you grow them enough, outweigh AdSense significantly. It's not even close. If done correctly, these four models by themselves absolutely dwarf AdSense. For those of you who still are skeptical, think about it like this. I did a video breaking down how much money you make on merchandise and print-on-demand products. If your t-shirts are $6 after expenses, and that's the profit margin, if the full profit margin for t-shirts is $6 and it's $10 for hoodies, then you could have $6 to $10 RPMs if 1 in 1,000 people buy just from print on demand from that if people buy. So that's another one, and you're not thinking about it, but you'd have to promote. You see? So you can decide your margins. You can have a $10 RPM anytime you want. You can have a $10 RPM anytime you want. But you have to have the courage, the confidence, and the specific information and knowledge to do it, and you'd have to execute well. But you can have a $10 RPM anytime you want. But do you have the confidence and courage to sell directly to an audience? Can you create value for a brand? Can you also align your audience specifically to offers that they want to buy, and you're just the means by which they buy? Because they already, like my audience already, those people, those 5,000, 10,000 viewers that I got clowned for getting low views on those videos, which eventually did get to 20,000, 50,000 given time on the camera reviews. For those of you who remember the camera reviews, those were all camera buyers. So there was an alignment. I wasn't forcing them to buy a camera. They were in the market for one. I was helping them make a buying decision they were already intent on making at some point. I either help them make that sooner with more confidence, less anxiety, aligned myself to when there was a really good deal on camera gear, or help them figure out what camera is the best one for their situation and why. And so then they were happy to buy. I was just the means by which it accomplished itself. That's it. They were already aligned to the opportunity. I didn't trick them or do anything. So that's the key. That's the key. When it comes to other specific offers, Merchandise is usually not about your logo, it's about the identity of the audience. You should make stuff that would sell if you were in Hot Topic or Spencer's Gifts that's ironic, funny, interesting, or speaks to the identity of the audience. So that would be a more effective way. I mean, that's why my hats don't say Roberto Blake. My hats say creator, and they say make things you believe in for a living. That's not about me by myself. That's about all of you and what would matter to you. And you want to make things you believe in for a living, and you identify as a creator, and you're happy to put it on your head. Those I think are like $20. And what's my profit margin on those? It's a premium hat, so my profit margin is probably $6 to $7. So that's it. Oh, for people who want to book on content creation, you want to help your parents understand this if you're a kid, here's the book. You're a parent who wants to understand why your kid wants to be a content creator. Oh, here's the book. You're an adult who wants a side hustle or to do a full-time career in this. You want to move on from your 9 to 5 job, or you're retired. Well, here's the book. $14.99 for print, $9.99 in Amazon Kindle. My commission is almost $7 because my royalty split with Amazon. So there you go. So what's that? If 1 in 1,000 people buy, that's a $7 RPM that I get. That's a $6 to $7 RPM that I get for every 1 in 1,000 people that buy. It's an aligned offer. So what we will have an entire workshop on this, and we will probably, maybe next week, we'll do a monetization Monday next week. We'll see if I'm traveling. I might be traveling, so maybe we won't. We'll see what happens. We'll probably definitely do some in April. But with a monetization Monday, I will absolutely cover more of this and help you understand this. But you can have as high as an RPM if you want. You'd have to align your audience avatar to an offer that matters to them. And you would have to understand how these different revenue models all play out. And you have to figure out where you lie as a education channel, as an entertainment channel, and you'd have to really think about that and about what value represents to your viewer. And so you'd want to be aligned to whatever value aligns to your audience. So yeah. So I'm gonna look at a few more chats, see if there's anything interesting. But I thought that was a great segue, from Larry from Home Rapid Repair in terms of the monetization piece. We have another one here. NC asked, do you think it's worthwhile to do A/B testing on thumbnails early on a new channel? This is the latest thumbnail question I saw before the chat ended the slideshow. Yeah. So here's the thing. When it comes to that, I think if you don't have a background in photography and design, that A/B testing can only help you because you don't know what you don't know and you don't know what people respond to. So I would absolutely say, even for a new channel, that A/B testing is valid because a lot of you don't know what you don't know. You don't have a background in photography or design. You don't know necessarily what looks good or what resonates with your audience. And so, yes, it's absolutely worth A/B testing even on a new channel. The fox emoji, what's the best topic for videos on YouTube? Honestly, there's no such thing. And I don't fully, this could be a good faith question. It may not be a good faith question. Here's my current belief. My current belief is that the current best topic on YouTube right now, but this is not for everybody and anyone, and this is a bad idea for 99.99999% of people. Should never, ever, ever do it. Never do it. Never do it. It will ruin your life, most of you. The best topic on YouTube to pick in 2025, if you have a thick skin and if you want to make money and if you're not stupid and going to screw it up or ruin your life, is politics. Politics is the single greatest topic and opportunity on YouTube. Most people cannot help themselves if they're invested in politics. They have no emotional control. They're reactive. They will click on a video to have their opinion validated or to argue and fight to the death about an opinion they disagree with. You can make long form out of it over 20 minutes. You can have multiple ad breaks in it. therefore monetizing at a high thing. Politics almost all leads to money. It tends to have a over 20 to 25 audience, which means slightly more affluent in the eyes of advertisers. It's in that sweet spot they want of people 18 to 55 that may have money in their pockets, aside from the broke college kids. They'll still click on the stuff. So the RPM is amazing, usually $8 to $20 RPMs, depending on the situation there. Multiple ad breaks run those dollar amounts up because there are the ability to put 5, 6, 8 ad breaks in it, and it doesn't matter. People will stay watching. The sheer amount of tribalism in it means that there's guaranteed to be channel memberships, super chats on live streams. You can have debate panels, and people will throw money at the debate panels because somebody validated their point of view, or because they want their thing read out on screen or displayed on screen, or for people to see it so they can argue. There's unlimited money to be made in the topic of politics at this point for anybody left, right, or center. It's an open invitation to print money, as far as I'm concerned. But if you screw up, become arrogant, become disconnected from reality, you start to get a God complex, you'll be destroyed by this topic, and it will ruin your life. It can be evergreen in nature, it can go viral, it has unlimited potential. Unlimited potential, unlimited audience market cap. It's just going to attract the lunatics and psychopaths if you do it. So thick skin, armed guards, because it's a high risk, high reward topic. So again, I don't know or believe that this was axed in good faith, because the truth is you should pick something you're passionate about, good at, that there's an audience for, that can make you a reasonable amount of money. That's the topic you should pick. But if we're just throwing things out there, I'm gonna stand on this answer that this is the highest risk, highest reward content anyone could make, and it's a terrible idea for 99.999% of people, and they shouldn't do it because most people will just ruin their life over it, and it will not bring good things into your life other than money. Other than money. So that's the issue. So yeah, let's see here. Natural Nate Lyles says, question, is there a best or worst time to create a second channel? Um, Ideally, after you have gotten monetized, I would say, in theory, after you've achieved a significant milestone of 10 or 20,000 subscribers, because then you know that you understand how to build an audience correctly, you're monetized, you theoretically know how to make money. So that means that starting a second channel is duplicating success. So if you can quantify and qualify your success, usually 10 to 20,000 subscribers is an easy way to qualify and quantify success. So 10 to 20,000 subscribers. Hey, you're monetized in the partner program, which most people do not or cannot do. And so then if you have those milestones, you know that starting a second channel, you have a shot at duplicating success, because you know what success is, how to achieve it, what it looks like, so you can do what already worked. I usually don't advocate for starting a second channel before you do that. Aisha Borrell says, as far as topics, I should pick what I'm passionate about is mind mapping. Hardly anyone is into that. Well, mind mapping, it could be tangential to productivity, couldn't it? So couldn't mind mapping be derivative of the larger topic, upstream called productivity. And wouldn't mind mapping also be downstream of how to study and how to research for students and professionals? So again, downstream of productivity. Productivity is one of the singular largest niches on YouTube that you could be successful at and profitable at. There are very few female content creators in the productivity space, competing with the likes of Ali Abdal. So Aisha Burrell isn't mind mapping derivative of a means of productivity. So why not just choose productivity and use that as a way to incorporate doing some mind mapping content? So that would be my thought. A lot of you, the thing you're passionate about is a niche within a niche. And sometimes being able to use the broader niche would be the answer. You say, yes, it is. I love that it's downstream productivity. Yeah. So do productivity, and then you can incorporate mind mapping and other useful mental models and techniques to help people be more productive, be more organized, be more thoughtful. So there you go. And this is the thing. A lot of people don't believe that oh, YouTube advice doesn't work. Oh, YouTube coaches are a scam. But the reality is that general advice can work for people who are already like A students, B students. They have high levels of intuition, adaptivity, autodactic learning. They can apply things to themselves. They can intuit things and say, oh, I know how to apply this for me specifically, but not everyone else does. So for those people, they need a tutor, aka a coach. They need a tutor, they need a mentor, or they could benefit from cheat sheets, best practices, frameworks, etc., that they'd be introduced to. But who's going to introduce them to that if it's not in the general curriculum, etc., etc.? So this is why we try to give a little bit of an opportunity, even with the workshops, to answer a couple of questions in the chat. We do the channel reviews because that's just like doing peer review. It's like, hey, come up and show the class what you did. Okay, let's critique it. So on and so forth. They're having your professor critique or grade you. So I try to take the best things from traditional education, leave the worst things from traditional education. But what a lot of you need to understand is that YouTube does not give a linear path to education directly in the way that every other white collar profession does. And even for methods of making money online, they have a formalization in something traditional in the real world to piggyback off of when it comes to best practices, books, training, previous education, etc. YouTube does not. So I try to correct a lot of that. And that's also why I think that coaching, courses, and cohorts are valid and conferences are valid because it creates a space wherein there's the same opportunity for training that every other white collar profession has. The difference is when they finally do decide to make degrees in being a content creator, you're going to learn from a professor who never did it. You're going to learn from a professor who never picked up a DSLR, never picked up their phone and made YouTube content, never monetized the channel, and never got the silver play button, and never helped another person get a silver play button. And they're going to teach this, and they're going to hand out degrees so that someone can say, hey, mommy, daddy, see, I can be a professional content creator. I went to college for it. I got a bachelor's. And that's going to happen over the next 10 years. I'm trying to head it off and say, if that's going to happen, let's make sure there's an alternative from actual content creators. And if that's going to happen, let's make sure that the education model produced by the actual content creators in the creator economy who built it are delivering the goods, and that we can create a parallel situation to traditional education who is going to use the credential to justify why their method is better instead of results to justify why their method is better. So I want to like formalize respect for content creators. And I think the only way to do that is I'm going to have to write more books, and we will have our own textbooks made by creators. I'm going to have to make planners, guides, more systems, more digital download templates, more resources, more workshops, more worksheets. And I'm also putting together something that will represent, and it'll probably end up being in Creator Foundations. I'm going to create about roughly 20 practical real world assignments and exercises to do in the real world for content creators to level up their skills and to confirm their skills for themselves and do a self assessment, just like in school. So that will include things like an assignment as far as what to do. Go out and do this with your camera if you have a camera, and do this and these settings and so on and so forth. And then, oh, if all you have is a phone, go out and do this and practice this exercise with these settings and do this thing. And then that's that. And then if you want feedback from people on that, where if you're not a member paying for the Academy Pro group, you can get public feedback on things by using our community Discord server. We have a Creator Foundations Discord server, and I've made that to kind of be a companion to the course and to the assignments that we're gonna do, because we're gonna give 20 formal assignments that people can do, that if you do these things, your content will improve because they're physical things you have to go out and do in the real world or in your studio or in your office. Because I understand there are like 7 primary ways to learn things. There's doing an exercise yourself in the real world. There's having a demonstration of something, which is what we do with the workshops. We'll show you how to do a thumbnail step by step, how to make titles, so on and so forth. So it's demonstration. There's lecture that's audio. There's audio visual with the videos. There is doing things in coordinated collaboration. There is also teaching someone else how to do something, which a lot of our mods, have done. And then there's also, excuse me, um, being given a visual guide that helps you if you're a visual spatial learner, which is why we do diagrams, checklist, and we do presentations and PDFs and worksheets. So that's why I try to incorporate, and this is something I don't think everyone does. I try to incorporate the 7 primary learning models into how I approach teaching content creation. Not everyone takes that approach. I'm taking the foundations of what is good about traditional education, and I'm applying it in such a way that it's accessible to content creators and relatable to content creators. So hopefully that makes some kind of sense for a lot of you. Oh, yes, absolutely. The traditional college education system will absolutely be behind what we do as creator educators. It'll absolutely be behind. Yeah, guides are extremely helpful. Checklists are extremely helpful. Those laminates we had when we were in school were incredibly helpful and useful to get a grasp of things or to use as a reference material. I've been considering making some print on demand products that people can get that are printable things for references and shortcuts that they can print and have by their desk if they want to, or in their office or pull out of a drawer. There are people who will want that kind of thing. I've considered making a print on demand product, designing some of those things, or making a visual guide that makes sense for people. So that's something I've thought of. And for those looking for the Discord server, here is the link and location for you. Um, Remember, I don't have a Discord server for it to be a fan club. It is a place for you guys to be able to share analytics, screenshots, thumbnails, titles, back and forth, conversate, um, give each other some support, feedback, information we may not have, latest news, compare data is great. If you want to compare analytics screenshots, and say, hey, here's what I'm seeing. Are you guys, is this working for you? Or, hey, what does this mean? It's a great way for you guys to have a study hall, which is something that the creator economy is lacking. And I don't think the Reddit community, no offense to people on Reddit, I don't think it works as well for serious content creators because of how many hobbyists are in there. People who just want to do a hobby, express themselves, which there's nothing wrong with being a hobby creator. However, there's not a space for people who are like, I want to be full time. I want a side hustle. I want to make $500 to $1,000 a month. I want 10, 20,000 subscribers at least. If you're that serious, you need a space where you're not around a bunch of little kids that just want to go viral. It is what it is. There are not a lot of spaces like that. The Academy Pro group would be perfect for somebody who's really serious, but not everyone can afford that all the time, and not everyone's a good fit for it. So we wanted to have something. So we have the Creator Foundation's Discord server. And one of the other things is not everybody is a candidate for coaching with me. In fact, some people should bone up on their best practices before something like that. Not everyone's a candidate really to fit in the Academy Pro group. So going through the Creator Foundation's free course, again, pay what you want, $0, $5 donations, fine. If you want to throw 10 or 15, I'll take it. But, and the great thing is it's a way to support. I know that YouTube doesn't take 30%, so that's also helpful. But the thing about that is it's a $0 course where you can get some fundamentals and some learning and get some best practices and get it without the algorithm throwing a Mr. Beast video at you or throwing an ad at you, disrupting your learning experience. So again, the good thing about traditional education is the lack of distractions. When you learn something on YouTube, there's all kinds of things competing for your attention. Sometimes when you want to learn, the best way is to be in a place where there aren't distractions. It's another good reason why I write books. I'm writing the second book right now in this trilogy. Initially it'll be a trilogy, and then there will be another trilogy, but not a third trilogy because we learn from Disney's mistakes now, don't we? Um, so there'll be 3 to 6 books. But the point is, sometimes there are analog and traditional methods of learning that are better. And sometimes reading a book is really helpful and you absorb the information in the right way, and there's less ways to be distracted, and you're able to focus and you're able to retain it better. Some of you do need a video, but you don't know what to watch. You don't know what question to ask even sometimes. So we literally did the Career Foundations. We started with just a bunch of common questions, and some of them are things you'd forget to ask or that slip your mind or you wouldn't know to ask. You don't know what you don't know. The thing with learning, yes, you technically could learn everything you want to learn about being a creator for free on YouTube. Do you know what the problem is with everybody who tells you that? They don't tell you what questions you should be asking, and how would you know? They're assuming you're as smart as they are, or as experienced as they are, or that you have the kind of friends around them that they do, and that's a bad assumption. You can't learn something online in the right order or the right way if you don't even know what question to ask or what problem you haven't run into yet, or how to formulate that question correctly. You also have no way of understanding what the contradictions are based on, well, does this apply to me or not? Or why is it one person is saying this thing and another person is saying this thing? What's the context there? Well, how would you know? You don't know what you don't know. You have no previous experience. So when information's curated and organized and structured without distractions, it's a better way to learn because you wouldn't know what to ask in the first place. You also wouldn't know what are the prerequisites or requirements to this thing, because I looked this thing up, but I may not know that it has requirements. So you're learning out of order. If you go to YouTube, there's not a good way to learn things in order. That's one of the reasons we put together a 12-week workshop and put them in an order and structured them. Now, these videos, we know they will not go viral. We know that most of these videos in these workshops are 2 and 3 hour workshops that will not get 100,000 views. We know that. There'll be a limited amount of people who understand the value and will prioritize that, and they'll be fine, but they'll have a way to learn and they'll have a way to get introduced to these ideas in the right order for free. And if they show up like you all have, some of them will get to ask questions that are specific to them and get a specific answer. We can't do that for everybody. Even if everybody super chatted their questions, we couldn't facilitate that. There wouldn't be enough time in the day. So that's just a way for you to understand a little bit more of what we're doing and why we're doing it and what the mission here is and what the point of these workshops are, what the point of the lecture series is, what the point of the free Creator Foundations course is and the free Creator Foundations Discord, but also what the paid offers from Awesome Creator Academy look like. Now, in the description, we have a couple of offers for you. If you guys still struggle with titles and productivity as a content creator, we have a $9 product you can get. It's the AI creator prompts, over 200 prompts that you can use for ChatGPT, Claude, and Grok. You can use the AI of your preference. Some of you are on X, so you're using Grok. It's actually really good with version 3. Claude Sonnet 3.7 is excellent. ChatGPT 4.5 is excellent. You can use the AI creator prompts. They're $9. You get over 200 prompts. You can put them into your favorite AI tool of choice, and it can help you with productivity. It can help you with, hey, could you please, AI tool, could you make my title more concise? Hey, can you do my title in active voice instead of passive voice? Hey, can you give me variations of this title, 5 of them, but make it under 60 characters so YouTube doesn't cut it off? Can you evaluate this hook and help me rewrite it so that's under 8 seconds? It's an intro to my video. I want it to be under 8 seconds. Hey, what would be a word that I can use that is the emotional context of my audience avatar? My audience avatar is such and such and such and such who wants to accomplish this. So it would be things like that in terms of prompts that can help you with aspects of your content creation. There's also little other things like being able to say, hey, here's some information about a guest that I'm interviewing. What would be 21 questions I can ask them that would help my audience understand or achieve blank? It's things that you wouldn't necessarily know to come up with on your own, and it's 200 of them for $9. We do this that so you can see the value for yourself and what we can do even for something cheap at $9. We'll over deliver for you. In fact, at the checkout page, I think we give you 5 prompts for free at the checkout page just so you can play with it and see that, oh, that makes sense. And to give you an idea of what prompting can be like. For those asking, Grok is another AI tool competing with ChatGPT and Claude. And that one is from X.com, formerly Twitter. So Grok is the AI from X.com. So Grok is spelled Grok, and it's actually a pretty good AI tool. You get that if you're already paying for X Premium, similar to YouTube Premium where you don't see ads. So yeah, so that's what Grok is. Claude is similar to ChatGPT as well, but it's better for writers and coders. So you might get results you prefer there. You could use Google Gemini, but I'm not the biggest fan of Google Gemini. I still think it has a long way to go. But you could use it if you wanted. So, that's just something for you to think about. And so remember, the Discord server is Creator Foundations. We did have the mods post that in the chat for you. If you're looking for it, there is the URL for Creator Foundations. And like I said, it's your open study hall. It is not the Roberto Blake fan club. That's not how I run Discord. And I'm not always going to be in there every minute of every day answering your questions on call. That's what people pay for coaching for. That's what people join the Awesome Creator Academy Pro group for, to get priority access to me outside of live streams and such. But I do pop into the Discord and I also announce some things that I'm finding out or news, or I might post some screenshots of things in the Discord. I usually check it early in the morning and then I'm in and I'm out, and then I'm here at the office getting things done for y'all. So that's the key to that. But it is meant for you all to have a community where you can go beyond my chats and you can continue to follow up and spend time with each other. There are a lot of you making great relationships here in the chat during the workshops, during the channel reviews, during the monetization Mondays. So I would like for you guys to have those experiences outside of just my chat. And the thing that I came up with for you, if you can't afford to join the Awesome Creator Academy Pro group or be a VIP member, is I came up with a Discord server where you can interact with each other. And once in a while, I might show up. Once in a while, I might give a live Q&A or lecture. So there's that. But anyway, that's it for tonight's session, you guys. We have another Wednesday workshop. So make sure you're here for week 4. And remember to download the slides from tonight's workshop. And these workshops will be available for you, and we will leave them up on YouTube. They will be at my YouTube channel, youtube.com/@RobertoBlake. And if you go to the live tab, you will see all of our previous workshops, but we've already scheduled the next 9 workshops in our 12-week series in advance. So you know when they will happen and you know what time, you know how it's going to go down. So we put that in place for you for a reason, and we leave these up. And we have other workshops and trainings there as well. And you can even watch other people's channel reviews who paid for channel reviews through our Friday Super Chat channel review streams. And maybe you can relate to some of those, or you're in the same niche and maybe the advice would help you. Or maybe just hearing how channels are broken down would help you. So we have that as well. That's also an opportunity for people to pay for some direct feedback. We offer a criticism, we offer an actionable piece of advice, and we offer a compliment on what you are doing well. So we tell you one thing you're doing well, we tell you one thing we're doing wrong, and we tell you one thing you need to do right now to be doing better. So that's how we do those. We usually do 5 to 8 minutes on a channel, and we do those on Fridays. Yep. So that is the deal. We have a last minute super chat for SSP Diving. Thank you for the $9 super chat. Roberto, off topic, but can you please go over some good budget cameras for live streaming? Anything around $500. Blogging would be secondary. Okay. So for $500, I would say a used iPhone can be good if you're going to use this version of the camera. And to do that, you're going to want to put a mount accessory on and then use what's called continuity camera from Apple. And you're going to want to do that. And that will turn this into a webcam. And you can find a good used iPhone for $500, especially if the screen is cracked. You can get that repaired, and then you just use the front camera here. And so that's one way to do it. I do not recommend using action cams. Too distorted. I don't recommend that. What you could do is you can get a used Sony ZV-E10. That is this camera. However, you can get that used for $500, but you're going to have to buy a lens for that one. You can use this, the Sony ZV-1. You can find this used for about $500. It has a built-in lens, built-in zoom. Boop, so you can do that. Not the best quality in the world, but it works. It gets it done. And you can get a wide angle or you can get a close angle. I use this for my super wide angle and for you to see a little bit behind the scenes. And when I need to point at certain things. So we use that. You might be able to find this camera I'm using, camera A, used. It is a Sony A6600. It'll probably be used, though, for about $700, $800. Of course, again, you'll have to buy a lens for it. There are not great options under $500. However, there are a few. Elgato makes a Facecam Pro, which is a dedicated face cam for live streaming. And I believe the Facecam Pro is $400 or less. and I believe that the regular Elgato face cam is $199. And I think that it's pretty decent, but it can be laggy and buggy a little bit, but the current firmware update probably fixes that. So those will be my recommendations for you in terms of live streaming cameras. What I will say about the Sonys, in particular the Sony ZV-E10, when you get a lens for it, is it does use just USB Type-C with no other accessory needed, and it is a great live streaming camera. And obviously you've seen the quality that it does for me over here on camera 2. It is perfect. It does all the things. So highly recommend. Yep. And so that's going to be it. We are wrapping up. It is closing time, but the replay will be here and available for anyone who wants to check that out. I will try to reply to comments in the comment section as usual. But that is going to be it. Stay awesome, and we will catch you next time. We're going to close out, and you're going to learn a little bit more about Awesome Creator Academy and the Pro Group membership. If you want more details on that, you can use the link in the description. Stay awesome. Bye. Becoming a content creator can be a very lonely process and adventure, but it doesn't have to be. When I first got started going from 0 to 100,000 subscribers, I had to do it all by myself. I didn't have a community of like-minded and like-hearted creators to talk to or to ask for advice, and I certainly didn't have a mentor to guide me along the way. I built the Awesome Creator Academy Pro Group because when I was getting started, what would have meant the world to me is not to have to struggle alone when it comes to being a full-time content creator. If I had had a community of creators that I could talk to and share information with, I would have avoided a lot of mistakes in my early career, and there would have been opportunities with brand deals where I would have gotten a better understanding of how to negotiate, and I wouldn't have undersold myself. I wouldn't have been taken advantage of in those early situations. So in the Awesome Creator Academy Pro Group, myself and our co-instructor Andy Rivera, we meet twice a week for office hours with our creators, and we share information, we talk about how we're building our creator businesses, and we offer constructive criticism and critique on the things that we're working on for our projects. You'll be part of a community of usually around 100 like-minded creators who are taking this seriously just like you are. You'll also have all access as a Pro Group member to all of our past, present, and future courses, training, templates, digital downloads, and swipe files. You have full access to our creator blueprints where you'll see our systems and the frameworks that we use to execute. You know, you always fall or rise to the standard of your systems. A lot of people really underestimate how important that is. We have digital download templates that can help you so you don't have to start with a blank canvas. These done for you files are actually incredibly helpful, especially for things like your thumbnails, your media kits, and anything you need for your branding as a content creator to look professional. We have email swipe files that help you with reaching out to brands. We have great information in helping you price yourself and build your packages appropriately. And remember, as part of the Pro Group, you have the opportunity to ask questions from myself and all the other creators participating. And so this means that if you need to ask questions about negotiation or a brand deal, there's something you're not sure about, you're trying to find a better monetization opportunity with merch or affiliates, you have people who have done it before, who are already making money, that you can reach out to for advice. As I said, when I was starting out and I was flying solo, this is the thing that I wish I'd had the opportunity to be a part of, and it would have made all the difference in the world in helping me be an even more successful content creator. If you have questions, you can always reach out via support. We're happy to help you figure out if the Pro Group is right for you. Also, we do have the opportunity for you to become a VIP member if you also would like quarterly one-on-one coaching with me directly. Now go out there and create something awesome today, and hopefully we'll see you in the Pro Group. Take care.